Did you guys miss me?
It was weird, and I'd love to be like, no, but no, it was weird. I think I said this to you at the party, but it's like you're just used to playing catch with 3 person, and then one day you throw the ball and the other person isn't there. Like, me and Brian were the only tools of that podcast, and it was a really strange feeling.
Yeah. Normally, either myself or Niamh will finish. John will segue into the next part of the podcast. But what happened was John would have the final word, and then he'd look to me, and I'd be like, well, I'm done talking to you. And then he'd be like, and now we're on to emails. I don't know.
Now, that said, looking at the numbers, big increase in numbers.
Yeah,
which,
I noticed.
Unfortunately, Niamh, it's that time of year again where we are going to have to let you go.
Look, I am the secret sauce between the supple buns that are both of you. I need to be included.
Why are we supple?
You know why you're supple.
I feel like you were going for the food metaphor and the word supple ruined it.
Fine, I am the secret sauce between 2 crusty buns. Which one's better?
Brioche.
2 brioche buns.
Yeah.
I'd be one of those whole wheat buns that everyone's like, really? This?
Yeah, like, I think I went to a bagel place once with John, and John got, like, the exact opposite of what I would like.
So this is a terrible sandwich. It's 1 part brioche, just a sauce of some description, which is me. I'm the lubrication. And then a whole wheat bun.
Mm-hmm.
And that is Let's Fight a Boss.
Welcome to the Let's Fight a Boss podcast. The world's... What is it, Brian?
Most disgusting sandwich.
What is it, Niamh?
The most disgusting sandwich.
Strongest video game podcast. To my left, I have the unholy baker, master of dough, terror of wheat, kinda okay at condiments. It's Niamh.
I'm here to knead.
To my right, the man who has never once eaten a slice of pizza. It's Brian.
I just don't think I'd like it.
Just not his thing.
It's just not for me.
And with you always, I'm your host, John. So, I have a little update to a minor grappler backy story we talked about on the podcast before, and I only bring it up, and I'll keep this short.
Thank you.
But I only keep bringing it up because it was directly related to a question Niamh asked. She asked why the caveman was called Pickle. I now know that. He's called Pickle because he was frozen in the ice and preserved, not unlike a pickle.
Sure.
Yeah, you could call him, like, I don't know, cured meat as well.
Back to the food stuff, eh, Niamh?
Well, pickles are food.
Niamh, are you just really
Are
hungry?
you hungry, Niamh?
You
Do we
got-
need to stop this and go get something to eat?
You got the munchies there, buddy?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm good.
All right.
So pickle was preserved and thus called pickle.
Yeah,
Like
and
a pickle.
so case closed.
Genius.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Did someone correct you? Were they like, actually, you're wrong about that one, Stuff Right Past Wolf, and I got one up on you, you idiot. I should have my own anime YouTube channel, but I'm not gonna.
This is getting a bit real.
You made a mistake, and I'm gonna point it out.
Hey,
You fool.
did you guys hear about those parasocial relationships?
Oh god! Oh my god! Yeah,
I haven't watched that yet, by the way.
it's Niamh. I think it might like it 100% serious. Kind of fucked me up a little bit.
I can imagine, since I've come back, I think 4 separate people have been like, have you seen that fucked up video about parasocial relationships? I was like, not yet, but I will.
Yeah, it's really disturbing.
Yeah, I don't want to hype it up or anything, but it's good.
Ruined my fucking day.
Yeah.
Who's the YouTuber who made it?
Shannon Strucci?
Yeah.
Never heard
she's
of her.
I was chatting to her since the previous episode, and she's lovely.
Your life, Brian. It's interesting.
Yeah, you get to talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
I like conversations.
Really?
Not-
What else do you like, Brian? What pieces of media do you like?
I've been watching the weirdest fucking TV show I have ever seen in my life. It was recommended to me by a friend, Heber, who him and his brothers make very weird movies, and sometimes John and I participate in these weird movies. But it was a TV show where it's kind of like something that we would have made a couple years ago, elevated to like ridiculous circumstances. It's a TV show called Nirvana, the band, the show.
Right.
And it is a Canadian show set in Toronto, but on Viceland. And it has a lot of Vice money behind this. And they are spending that money on stupid fucking shit. Like, this feels like an MTV show from the mid-2000s where they just have a blank check and they're just, like, they don't give a fuck.
What was your guys' favourite old MTV show?
Viva la Bam.
Yeah, probably.
Okay,
Viva la Man.
say excluding the Jackass family of shows. Like,
Cribs.
shitty daytime MTV.
Cribs.
For me, then it would be Room Raiders. That was very good.
I was a Next guy.
What was next?
Next was when you'd have 5 people lined up.
Oh, with the bus?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you go on a date, and then when one pisses you off, you just go, next.
My name's David, I'm 22, I'm gonna mow this girl's lawn.
I'm Craig, I'm 20, and I'm so excited I'm gonna pee my pants.
I'm Alex, I'm 18, and they call me Fred because I can make your bed rock.
I'm Kenny, I'm 21, and I'm gonna win this date. Case closed.
Wow.
That was a really weird series.
Dismissed was pretty good as well.
Is that the same as next?
No, Dismissed was Dismissed was that you're on a date with 2 people, and at the same time, and you dismiss one by the end.
Yeah. Okay. So this show, Nirvana,
Whoa,
the band, the show.
I'm not even close to done talking about MTV shows from the early 2000s.
This is why I like this show. It really reminds me of something like that. It is about a music duo called Matt and Jay, and their band is called Nirvana the Band.
That's pretty good.
And that is the worst fucking band name you could ever fucking think of. And every episode, or almost every episode, is about the both of them trying to get a gig at a music venue called the Rivoli Theatre, which is a real theatre on Queen Street in Toronto, very near opposite the hat shop where you got your koi fish hat.
Oh, sick.
And I think it's the recent trip to Toronto that kind of really got me like physically involved in the show because I recognize everything. But the show is filmed super loose mockumentary style, kind of like Curb Your Enthusiasm or Arrested Development, but way, way more shittier. And they're playing fictionalized versions of themselves, and they'll come up with a scheme, but then they'll get sidetracked. But then the other half of the show is them out in public with the real public, with them playing their roles. And like, so there's a bit where one character has to break into like a newspaper office, so he has to dress up as like a repairman, and so that's his character, but everyone else is a real person and they don't know they're being secretly filmed.
So a bit Nathan For You, like?
It borrows from like Nathan For You, like the Jackass stuff, but like they're the butt of the joke the whole time. It's really fucking weird because like it's hard to tell when someone's being like serious or not, but like the only 2 characters that are acting are them, and everyone else doesn't seem to be in on the joke. And it's filmed real loose and they improvise a lot, and then they make stories up around it. But it has all this weird fair use shit where one of the episodes they get kicked out of a premiere screening of The Force Awakens, but they film it in the cinema and they're filming The Force Awakens, and one of the characters has made himself accidentally blind, so the other guy has to read out what's happening and explain what's happening, and then they get kicked out of the cinema. But then they have an argument in the lobby, and the staff are like, can you please stop filming in here? And they like ignore that bit, but then they're having their argument, and then they turn to the other person and they're like, do you see what he's done to me? And they're like, that you both need to leave the cinema right now.
It's so wild with stuff like that. You're kind of like, where does the line, like even morally or I guess, legally with that
Yeah.
stuff.
I don't know about you guys. I never felt like Nathan For You really crossed the line.
No.
I feel like it's because it's like a business signing up for help, and he
Yeah.
does provide the help, and they can always reject it.
Yeah. But then, like a lot of the old Ali G stuff, I guess more like the Borat stuff, I found that quite like... I found a lot of that kind of cruel.
Yeah, like, this isn't necessarily cruel. Like, the worst thing they'll do in this is waste your time, which is kind of what Nathan For You does. Like,
Yeah.
he wastes your time. But that's the joke.
I wonder if it ever ends up where they have just completely unusable footage because one person they interacted with is just like, no way.
Oh, I'll bet that happens, and we never see it.
Yeah, because like in this show, some people sign release forms, some don't, and certain things are censored and some things aren't. It's really weird, but I think like they'll do a couple cuts and like they're always wearing the same outfits, so the continuity is always the same. But they'll film stuff out of order, and they have all these weird callbacks.
That's cool. That's like putting your narrative up to chance nearly.
Yeah, that's kind of fun.
Yeah, but like, and there's another episode because like the guys are actual filmmakers. One of the guys had a film in Sundance Film Festival, so they decided to film an episode at Sundance Film Festival around a fictionalized version of the film that the characters had made. So they went up on stage and introduced themselves and then showed the film, but the film they showed isn't the film that was in Sundance. Instead, it was the shit film that they had made.
I don't think I ever told a story about... Me and Brian used to do films with our friend Seamus.
Yeah.
And did I ever tell you about I don't think I ever said it on the podcast, the idea I had for the last film we would do with Seamus?
What?
Because it all started because of this Firehouse Film Festival, right?
Yeah.
And we used to like put films into that and stuff.
And like it was just like 5 minutes, and it was just like, let's do our silliest ideas and see what works, and just tie it together in edit.
The last film, that was exactly it. Like, we were just like, fuck it, we'll figure something out. The last film I wanted to do was one where it was me, Seamus, and Brian being angry that we had never won the festival, even though we did actually win the previous one with Small.
Yeah, we did with
Which
My
kind of
Little Brother.
Which threw a spanner in the works. But we were going to blow up the Firehouse Film Festival.
We had planted a bomb
on the night of the festival.
Ooh.
And so we would show this film, and then at one point we'd be like, and you know what? We're going to blow up the festival. And just as one of us says that, a countdown timer appears on screen. And
it's at like
starts
3
counting
minutes.
down. But then it would end up with us not blowing up the festival, because on the night of the festival we would show up and something would happen. I don't know, we would have had a change of heart, but I wanted it to be so in the final scene we're wearing the clothes that we would be wearing that night at the festival.
Yeah.
And that would have been fun, but then we never did it.
Yeah, so
these were slightly simpler times, I would say.
Yeah.
This TV show captures that train of thought, except someone just gave them money.
Yeah.
Viceland is the weirdest thing I've ever seen, so I can imagine they're just giving anyone money.
Vice have so much fucking money. Like, they are like MTV of this decade.
I see some of the documentaries they do, and it's like, wow, I'm amazed someone threw money at this.
And like a lot of them
yeah.
are bullshit. Like I was in America, and one of the channels I had was Viceland, and there was this guy, and he was just wearing like a full like mask, and he was like, I'm gonna uncover the secrets of the world, like this kind of Darren Brown, I'm a magician, I'm like this like mentalist. And then it's just this guy getting one person to stay in a room, and their other 4 friends out in the other room, and one of them takes turns calling, and they have to guess who's in the other room. It's literally just that, but it has this giant like build up and this like gravitas and this costume and this money, and it's just pure bullshit. It's just fluff. I was like, who's paying for this garbage? Anyway, Vice, weird.
Yeah. Vice
very
was super
weird.
weird. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of something good they made.
Vice?
Gaycation's good with Ellen Page.
Good. They did a really, really good documentary that's been up on YouTube for years about the Suicide Forest. It's done really, really sensitively. Like, it's a great documentary.
I feel like half the people at Vice are funding really good stuff, and then the other half is just like, here's my skateboard tattoo shop show number 72.
The founders,
They put out a video recently about incels that was chilling.
Yeah.
It's like just a 6-minute documentary the interviewer goes and visits this incel dude, and he just sits in his room, and she watches, and his entire life is just sitting in the room with a webcam pointed at him with like 6 other guys who are all on webcams, and it was very strange.
That's really depressing.
The founders of Vice are very strange. One of them is a Canadian dude called Shane Smith, and he's been there from the very beginning, and like he was the original journalist when it was just like a print magazine. Another one is Spike Jonze, the director.
Oh, weird.
Who directed like Where the Wild Things Are, Being John Malkovich, and Fucking Her, which is a terrible film.
Yeah,
Such
it's
a bad
such a
film.
shitty movie.
Then another guy who has since left is another Canadian dude, I think, who is a weird alt-right dude now.
Awesome.
So I don't think they want to talk about that guy. But then like Vice own Waypoint and shit like that.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
But this is like,
And
that's what I
then
mean.
at the very top, it's like a boys' club that's getting like fucking torn to shreds.
There's some people there who can make stuff happen, because I think all that Charlottesville documentary was Vice as well.
That was really good.
Yeah, like, so they're doing good stuff, but
And
they're
they
also
did,
doing
like-
garbage stuff, and they're wasting garbage money on it.
Yeah, they did a really good bit with the Eagles of Death Metal after the attacks in Paris from their concert, and it was like filmed like 24 hours later, and they wanted it out there. They just wanted to get their side of the story, and how it was an experience for them.
And then I'm over there and I turn on Viceland, and it was like basically a glorified ad for Tinder, where this guy in a suit, full like straight face, is just like, well, like, I think attitudes like for women's sexuality has changed, and LGBT people can like live lives more openly because of Tinder.
He's got you there, Neve.
And I was just like, oh shit, Tinder has done more for any of us. Thank you. And it's just like that paired with really hard-hitting journalism as well. It's just like, what?
Is Tinder not for straight people only?
Yeah. Well, there's sections, but like, I mean,
Okay, there's Tinder and there's Grindr.
Yeah.
But is Grindr just for dudes who want a bone?
I mean, love can blossom out of a bone.
I'm not saying it can't.
Yeah.
But yes, mostly.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just hookups.
Do you guys think if you were single you'd use like dating apps?
I really don't want to.
I used one before.
How was that?
It's all right. Yeah, it was all right. I really liked the gamification aspect, where you had to answer questions, and then they would pair you with someone who'd ask similar questions.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you
Okay.
can go through what they answered, and you're just like, ooh, really? On that one? It's like, it's weird. It's like, yeah, gamification of dating.
Yeah, you're like screening people where it's just like, okay, if this was going to come up after 3 dates, I'd be really bummed out. So
Yeah.
this isn't wasting my time.
I went on like 2 dates ever that weren't Michelle. Like, other than that, it was just like random hookup stuff. And then I dated this one girl for 2 dates, and I think really good time with her. Then kind of decided I didn't want to be with her, but went for the second date. I don't know why. And then had a like 3-hour conversation explaining why I didn't want to be with her, because I was like 18 and an idiot and didn't understand.
You see, if you'd Tinder, you could just ghost her.
I could have just ghosted her anyway, but I think I thought I was doing her a favor, and then afterwards I was like, I bet that was way more painful than if I had just ghosted her.
Yeah. 3 hours. Here's 3 hours why I don't like you enough.
Oh, it was brutal. It was bad.
So Nirvana, the band, the show,
So Nirvana
the movie.
banned the show.
Yeah, it's only available to watch in Canada. There's no other way to watch that show, so go on the internet and watch it, I guess.
It's a very non-committal.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we would never advocate for any kind of...
Nah.
Living in Ireland, most shows are just available to us all the time, you know, whenever we want them.
Oh, yeah.
Netflix has literally everything you've ever seen. so-
Crunchyroll in Ireland is really good.
Really good. Yeah,
Like,
you just get everything.
It's got Irish subtitles for anime.
If you want to see Naruto or Scalga, you can.
Oh, shit, the holly.
Okay, so I watched Disenchanted.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I watched the first episode of Disenchanted.
Same.
I really want to like this show. I feel like it is not making it very easy. I love Matt Groening. I like Matt Groening's drawings. I like his general ethos with artwork. I think it's cool. This feels like... this show feels older than Futurama.
Yeah.
And the comedy especially feels pretty flat, and a lot of the timing is not good. You can tell they wrote a joke and then didn't think about giving it time to breathe, the kind of spaces in between them, and they just kind of run together. And there was a few points in it when I was even like intellectually in my mind I was like, oh, they just made a joke, because it got no physical reaction out of me at all, like not even a kind of little spark where you're like, oh, I see what they did there, you know.
I watched with my girlfriend Rebecca, and she works on storyboards, but she was saying that there's lots of gaps of silence where it's badly directed, it's not tightened up.
Yeah,
so
it's a bad edit.
Yeah, it is. It's badly edited, and I just think it's a rushed animatic, and they just had to animate it, and there's bits where it loses energy and momentum.
Yeah.
Do you think an edit could save it, or is it something deeper?
I don't think there's anything wrong with the fundamental premise or characters.
I do think an edit could vastly improve it.
Yeah, totally.
It could make it way more punchier.
And I also see it as something that could potentially actually be pretty good in like 3 seasons if it gets that far.
I know with like, you know, Futurama, it took me a while to warm into that.
I find with like a lot of comedies, especially sitcom and television, like it does take me a while. Like the classic example I always give is I think the first season of Parks and Rec is really bad.
Yeah,
but like if you go back and watch it, like Ron Swanson is wearing a suit. Like when you compare that to what that character becomes, that's insane.
Yeah, it's figuring itself out.
And so I'm really hoping this show can turn it around, because I really want to like it. But was not super enthused from what I saw straight away.
Does it look good at all?
No.
I think the backgrounds look amazing.
The backgrounds are awesome. They're so nice.
The characters do not ergonomically work in that world, though. You just have these beautifully detailed backgrounds, and then you have these macaroni designs occupying the space.
The characters look like less polished Futurama designs.
When does he let go of that style for the sake of aesthetic?
When his name isn't part of the project.
Really? Do you think his name carries that style and that's what his name is?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
like he still draws Life as Hell every week.
That's crazy.
He still does it every week.
I like Life as Hell. It's fun.
Yeah.
So if his name was on something and it wasn't in that style, like, do you think that wouldn't exist? Or?
I don't think it would have anything to lose.
Yeah.
But like people wouldn't know right away that he was part of it, because like something like Parks and Rec has lots of Simpsons writers and directors on it. And there's a similar feeling in some of the episodes, but like you wouldn't know it until it's pointed out and you go, yeah, I could see it. But with Matt Groening, like they sold it as a Matt Groening show. It has to look like a Matt Groening show.
Yeah.
And I'm sure some people were fighting with him for character designs, but he gets final say, and they're based off his napkin drawings, I assume.
A lot of those characters look good flat on. Sometimes when you try and 3D space a lot of that design work, you're kind of like...
Some of my favorite drawings from classic Simpsons are like
when they look
Lisa,
straight on.
like the really famous one about Lisa and Bart from Straight On, and they just look like weird ducks.
Yeah,
I love that drawing.
There's a bit in the first episode where the main lead character, voiced by Abby from Broad City, she looks up, but her animation is very slow as she looks up, and it's just like a really weird drawing that kind of like catches you off guard for a second.
Yeah.
I do really like the demon that's voiced by Eric Andre. He's got a really interesting design.
Yeah,
and they do some cool animation with him.
They do. There's some fun visual tricks, and like again with like the little time I could see a character like that being really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope it gets better. Neve, tell us about Ladybird.
Ladybird was my airplane movie.
Oh, that's such a good airplane movie.
Okay, Neve, you also got to tell us about New York at the end of this.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
I went on an airplane to New York, and the first time I only played the onboard games.
Jesus, Neve,
they were bad.
That's really fucked up.
They were just like, it was like, you have your TV section, your film section, your music, and then you have games. So I tried to play Tetris on a touchscreen.
How much were you doing that just to mess with Rebecca?
A little. There was one called Brain Foo, which had these giant brain characters that made you answer simple math questions, and I was like, look at my IQ, because it would just at the end be like, calculate your IQ. It's like, your IQ is 180, and it was like, yes it is, I can do. But they were really weird like flash games that would not be made anymore and have been relegated to the back of a plane seat. So that was fun. On the way back I watched, and the reason I didn't watch a lot of stuff is I went with Aer Lingus. They have the worst audio ever. They have this like double jack piece of shit headphone.
I hate that thing.
So you can't use your own headphones. It has to be this like, it has to be the Aer Lingus ones.
You can, but you only get one.
Yeah, they only do sound to one ear because the double pin is for right and left.
Now.
I couldn't get over it. It was like, why would you do this to anyone? This is just shit. So I had to use the crappy headphones and the sound was awful. So I was like, I need something where I don't really care and it's slow. And Ladybird is this perfect level of kind of like it's suburban America, slow coming of age, teenage drama thing about teenage relationships with parents. It's like Juno if Juno was good and not about a pregnancy.
Yeah, and like it's cool that it takes place in a Catholic school.
Yeah, like that really like their outfits and everything. It really like struck a chord with me visually because I went to Catholic school. Saoirse Ronan does an amazing job. She's so magnetically teenage.
Yeah.
You know, it feels authentically annoying, you know. She's a bit annoying, but you totally get why she is. You know why she's doing it.
She's such a little shit to her mom.
Yeah, she's such a little brat, and you're like, but oh god, she's got it so like her mom's kind of such a shit to her because she can't communicate. So she's like from this like low-income family. Her dad hasn't been able to work because of depression. The mom is doing double shifts at a psych ward. She's lying to the girls in her school about her income and telling them that she lives in this more upscale area. She says she's on the wrong side of the tracks, and she feels like she literally is. And it's her trying to and wanting to kind of go to New York to art college, and the parents trying to impress on her their financial situation, and her just not getting it because she's a teenager. And so it was equal parts beautiful and charming and sad and slow and like emotional, but very honest. And it was a perfect plane movie because not much happened, but it wasn't that visually nice that I felt bad about it.
Sure.
But I really enjoyed it. It was nice, and Saoirse Ronan kicked ass.
Yeah. Directed by Greta Gerwig, who does a lot of Mumblecore films. So
fucking Mumblecore.
What's Mumblecore?
Mumblecore is a type of indie film done by the Duplass brothers, Mark and Jay Duplass.
What films would they be?
The most famous example I can think of is Cyrus, the one where it's Jonah Hill and John C. Reilly, but they're all kind of like indie films that are shoot loose, improvise, and people literally mumble. And so sometimes they'll flub
Everyone
a line.
talks like David Franco.
Yeah.
So kind of low, like...
Yeah. And like sometimes they'll flub a line, but they'll use that take in the film because sometimes people fuck up when they talk, so they want to have that authentic feel to it. Mm-hmm. But like they're all shot real fucking cheap. Another one is Frances Ha that Greta Gerwig is also in, and Adam Driver is in. And it's in black and white, and it's about dancing.
I don't think I've seen many Mumblecore movies.
I watch a lot of Mumblecore movies.
Yeah? Have you seen Ladybird?
Oh yeah.
Where do you think that ranks as a Mumblecore?
Oh, up in the high rankings. Like that is a watchable film.
Is 50-50 the one where...
That's Seth Rogen and guy from Third Rock from the Sun.
Yeah, Robin from Batman.
Joseph
JGL.
Yeah. Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Is that Mumblecore?
Semi, but that's more like a low end Judd Apatow handover film.
This is like this whole genre I've never dipped my toe into, and I don't think I really want to.
You should go on the wiki and look at the list and be like, ugh.
This is a list of movies I never want to see.
And I know someone's going to email in going like, guys, you just don't get Mumblecore. No, we don't, but you do, and good for you, buddy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Like I enjoyed Ladybird. I really like how there's kind of two hard edits in the movie. One is at the start when she's fighting with her mom in the car and she has enough and she just jumps out the fucking car and breaks her arm. And then the bit at the end when she's in college and she's partying too hard and it just hard cuts to her in a stretcher being like taken out.
I fucking love hard cuts so much.
And like those two bits are really, really funny. But outside of that, it's very just cookie cutter indie movie.
Brian.
Yeah.
You saw Unfriended 2, The Dark Web. Tell us about the weird looking guys in that.
Unfriended, Dark Web. Have you guys seen the Unfriended films?
No.
You guys not like the Unfriended films are amazing.
I've seen a video summary of it, and that makes me feel like I've seen it.
There's something about watching it, and like you have to watch these movies like with someone else, because if you watch it on your own, it's really sad.
Yeah. Like
you gotta watch it with someone and have a good old fucking screech. Like this isn't a movie that makes you laugh or scream; it makes you screech.
Sure. Okay.
They are filmed as if someone is just recording their desktop.
I heard this. Is that better to watch than on your laptop than on a cinema?
It was the novelty of seeing it on a cinema screen was very funny because they had it like cropped out all around the edge, so like it was filmed on an Apple laptop, and like I could tell what specific model it was, but the Apple logo was like slightly cropped out by the screen edge area. So
Okay.
and so I think all they have to do is pay the license fees for like Facebook, Skype, and Wikipedia and shit like that. But like, it's a guy who's having a Skype chat with his group of friends, and they have to explain the story using all these different like plot devices, using different apps. But I guess the short of it is that he finds a laptop and he claims he got it on Craigslist. He didn't. He stole it from the cafe he worked at because nobody had touched it for like 3 or 4 weeks, and it belongs to dark web hackers. And he like turns it on, and like almost the terabyte hard drive is almost completely full. And then like his friends tell him, oh, you use this app and you can like turn on all the invisible files. And he finds all these fucking weird video clips of like a woman chained up trying to grab something, or like another one is like a barrel with like a woman like looking through the hole of the barrel.
Like snuff films or spooky films?
Snuff films.
Okay.
And he's screen sharing this with all his friends, and they're like, dude, you hit the gold mine. And then like the hackers start Skyping him. The way they show how cool the hackers are at the internet is whenever they're on like the webcam, they're data moshed, because like Skype doesn't know what to do when it sees them, so they're just data moshed. And then they'll Facebook message you, but the Facebook logo is inverted, and they'll like doo-doo noises like and then when they'll like type messages to you, they'll delete them afterwards. The first Unfriended movie had ghosts in it.
So this doesn't have anything supernatural?
No, this is no supernatural elements, except it still has digital ghosts, but this time it has like grounded human explanation for it. And like when they open up the hacking software, or like the software that's supposed to be Tor, which is like a rerouted IP hiding website browser, but instead they just run a software program where it's like a pixel art version of you going through the river Styx.
I love stuff like that. I love trying to visualize this stuff.
And then there's a bit later on where they talk to all the hackers, and the hackers, when they're like together as a group, they're way stronger. So the river Styx suddenly is rendered in 3D, just to let you know, like...
That's so fun.
Like, these movies are really, really fun. Like, the first Unfriended is amazing. That came out like 3 or 4 years ago.
Like, it's stupid, but it's also super clever.
You know,
like just the premise and how they did it.
Like, these films are so stupid, but they don't waste your time. And like, you're like, that's a really cool way of showing me something stupid. Like the film goes out of its way to explain all the stupid shit as like logically as possible. Like, it doesn't get to explain everything, but you're like, fair enough. Like they're doing something, but I could see why they're doing it. But this is like it makes its own dumb rules but follows them, and that's great.
Sometimes I wonder, like, how bad is the dark web for horrible shit?
Oh no, it's so fucking bad, John.
I've seen documentaries where it's actually like there is actually like a lot of it is urban myths. A lot of the dark web is just drugs and prostitution.
We can hire assassins.
You can hire assassins, but like stuff like red rooms, there's never been proper like.
That's definitely an urban legend.
Yeah, and that's the kind of stuff I wonder about.
So this really, really pushes the red room stuff, where like the guy will post out to the group, "I've got a new one. The highest bidder gets to pick what's on the video."
Oh, so that's a red room. It's like a snuff room?
Yeah.
And is it live streamed?
It's pre-recorded, but you get to like get first dibs on that Quicktime.
Yeah, you get to like. Well, the urban legends go that you get to pick what happens.
Okay. Dark.
But then, like, the dark web's weird as well, because you never actually know how much shit is on the dark web, because you have to have a direct address.
Yeah. And like the dark web hackers are so fucking, they're brilliant, because like we could all be dark web hackers. Like, you don't know.
Who's to say we aren't?
And like some characters in this are like super well developed and others are not, and I think that's kind of funny as well, because like some of them are like throwaway characters. Like, you know how when you watch JoJo you're kind of like, what the fuck was that character? But then other characters, they'll really fucking like, you know, like the fucking Darby brothers, they get a lot of screen time, but then like Midler never did. Like, it kind of, you know, like it's silly and dumb that way.
Yeah, sure.
Is Logan Paul in this?
I don't think so.
Is that like a spoiler?
No.
He's in it? Okay, or Jake Paul.
I heard he was.
I heard
but
like one of the.
Would you know
Pauls is in
Logan
it.
Paul to see, Brian?
Yeah, he's blonde, jock-looking dude.
Yeah.
No, I don't think he was in this film.
Oh, maybe that's part of the urban legend.
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah, everyone should watch the Unfriended movies. I really hope they make a third one.
Where do they take it now?
I don't know, like, maybe
like-
they hack a Game Boy camera.
I'd like if the third Unfriended movie, there was no internet at all, and it was just a slasher movie, and they were just like, the internet can't protect you now.
It'd be cool if in the next Unfriended they go into like a magnetic room where like no technology can work.
What I thought was always a good idea was a horror film called Emoji, and you get a string of emojis, and depending on what they sent you, it was a new way you would die. So if someone sent you like a sheep and a bunch of snakes, you'd be in like a pit.
Sheep?
Well, just like sheep and snakes all together.
What would the unicorn be, Neve?
Well, like, you gotta get creative. It would be a horse with spikes glued to it. I don't know.
Fuck yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like they put you in like a tiny pen, and the horse just has knives glued to it.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, what are horses afraid of? Mice? I don't know.
Maybe we'll just add the mouse
They
emoji
just drop
in
a
there.
mouse in, and the horse just starts bucking like crazy. Although that would probably kill you by itself anyway. Still,
But you could start small. The first emoji you get is an apple, and it's a poison apple, and then it just builds up. If you get the gun, it's pretty
okay. You know
self-explanatory.
what? Stop talking. Edit this bit out. We're gonna workshop this.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's Fight a Boss Productions is finally happening.
Emoji the movie.
Emoji the movie.
Okay, who's next?
Well, Brian, that would be me, but kind of killed the segue there a little bit, didn't you, buddy? I watched a movie that Brian talked about a couple of months back called Good Time.
Oh shit, I could have been like, are you having a good time, John? Well, Brian.
There is a bit in the movie where someone says, and it made me so happy, it's not a spoiler, someone just goes, it'll be a good time.
This is the Robert Pattinson one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I read into that line a lot, and I was like, oh my god, this is what the movie is about. But then I looked it up on IMDb, and they were like, no, that's not what it's about. And I was like, damn. I guess to briefly summarize, this movie kind of starts off when Robert Pattinson and his brother, who's mentally challenged, we'll say, rob a bank, and the brother gets caught, and Robert Pattinson doesn't, and the entire movie is about him trying to get his brother out of hospital where he is being guarded by a police officer.
Because he was assaulted in prison.
Yeah. And it is one of my favorite kind of movies where it just takes place over a single night, couple of hours, and just the weird adventure Robert Pattinson goes on that night. And he meets a kooky bunch of characters, and some stuff goes according to plan, some stuff really does not. I fucking loved this movie. It's really, really well directed. It's got so much cool lighting. It's got such a great soundtrack. It's really well acted, like really, really well acted. Both Robert Pattinson and the guy who plays his brother, who was actually the co-director of the film, and I was really entertained the entire movie. But then, like, I found towards the end, it really hit me on a weirdly emotional level that I cannot explain, and I just started crying, and that never happens. But I was like, oh my god, oh no. And Michelle like just turns around and she's like, oh no. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. But it was just fucking awesome. It was so good, and I think it's the kind of film where like a lot of people could read a lot of different things into it, and so I don't think like my take on it or the particular reasons it had such a strong effect on me, I don't think that's going to happen everyone. But oh man, I loved it. Like, I'd say that and Hereditary are like my two favorite films I've seen this year. I really would recommend it. It's on Netflix, people want to watch it, and I just fucking loved it. It was fantastic. Neve.
I'm gonna have to watch that, haven't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you're gonna be like, it's not actually that good, and I'll be like, oh.
It takes place in New York, which is where you
I
were.
do like New York.
Tell us about New York, Leave.
Leave.
Yeah, leave. Yeah, leave, will you?
Leave has returned. I was in New York, and it was my first time going there, and it was a cool city. I really liked it. It had an energy and a rhythm to it that I felt was missing in LA, but like New York felt like it was always moving forward, and no one felt like they would kill me at any one stage.
Really?
Yeah, like there's just like people were out. There was people out, but they were doing their own shit. They were going places. People had places to go. People had work to go to. There was a good mix of locals and tourists and celebrities, and just like there was this real. This is a city doing its own shit. Get out of the way kind of thing.
Yeah.
And New York was a really interesting place. A lot of the things I noticed was things were smaller than I imagined them to be. I was like, oh cool, the Lego store. This is going to be massive because it's their New York flagship store. It was small. It was really small. Same with the Nintendo store. I didn't think it was that big. I was like,
no, it's
oh,
kind
okay.
of like a half-scale Apple store.
Yeah, and like Midtown Comics, like all these kind of big places that you kind of want to go to, they were all really cool, but they felt like they'd been there for a long time or something. And that was a cool experience to kind of feel like it was there a long time. I'm really basing this off my experience with LA because that was the only place I've been in America.
They're very comparable cities.
Yeah.
I think.
One is like new and weird, and the other one's kind of older and weird. But I like the older one.
Yeah.
I went to FlameCon, which was the gay con I was going to, and that was only okay.
Really?
I think that con has gotten really big really fast, and they do not have the management to deal with that.
Right.
Oh no.
It kind of felt very unorganized.
I guess a gay con in New York is kind of a slam dunk.
Yeah, you kind of felt like that. I kind of felt it would be like better run, and the crowds were there, you know, people bought tickets to it. It was full, like a bit too full. Like it was very hard to make your way around the artist alley and around the building and stuff, and the hotel were really not into the idea of nerds being around, so they were kind of like get out of the foyer kind of area.
Oh, really?
So you're kind of like left to these two floors, but there was never one area you could really, you know, chill or talk. You kind of had to leave if you wanted to have a conversation with someone.
Huh.
They only had an artist alley and they didn't have a trade hall, so I'd say if you were an artist there you would have done really well.
Yeah.
It's like my issue with it is like I don't know what made it LGBT.
Yeah.
Like
Did they have panels that had?
there was panels with a slant, like they were like they were gay, like, and the people on the panels were like are queer or LGBT, but like it felt very basic, like kind of 101 introduction to things, and I was kind of like, we're all gay here, we kind of know what we're talking about, you know. I was like, I felt like I could go to these panels at any con, you know what I mean? This could be at just Comic-Con or
Did it
DCC.
have like speed dating or anything like that? They always have speed dating.
No, they didn't have any nightlife really to it apart from
Really?
a party one night. Yeah,
Man, I imagine if I went to FlameCon, the nightlife would be the thing to go for.
yeah, no, not from my experience. You know, when you're in an artist alley, you get a lot of yaoi.
Yeah.
That was majority what was there.
Right.
I didn't see any really lesbian stuff. I didn't see any trans stuff. It kind of felt artist drawing yaoi, like, and I was like, I can get this literally at any con, and I didn't really see any new artists that I was excited to see or anyone's work. There was a few people who definitely stood out for certain, but like out of the majority of people there, I felt like I could get it anywhere.
Right.
So I don't really know why it was expensive as it was, or what it really brought to the table as LGBT specifically, which is kind of not great when you're going because it's specifically LGBT.
Yeah, and traveling halfway across the fucking planet
Yeah.
to boot. That sucks. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fine or whatever. It didn't really matter because I met up with the girls from the last Adventure Cast.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So this is Danny, Tori, and Azalea, and we spent like a day with each other across 2 days. We spent most of the con together.
And you weren't weird to them, were you?
No, why would I be weird to them?
Cards on the fucking table. Were you weird?
No, I was really nice and normal.
Me and Brian were so worried.
Oh my god, what would I was lovely and normal.
Didn't embarrass us, did you?
Yeah.
No, I told them so many secrets though.
What secrets? Which ones?
Sweet.
I want to know after the podcast.
They were really lovely to meet, and it's really cool when you kind of communicate with people online. You don't know what that's going to kind of translate to into a real life meeting. You know, it could be nice, it could be weird.
Totally. Yeah.
And you're like, oh.
Yeah, you could really just rub that person the wrong way.
I feel
in
like
real life.
Yeah.
I feel like there's some people who I thought I'd get on with and I did. I have other people who like I thought we'd get on, super did not, and then other people who like I was like, we'll never get on with this person, and good friends now.
It's so weird because your chemistry online does not dictate chemistry in person at all.
No.
Like, and having the same interests, like when you go to college, you're like, I can't wait to meet everyone with all the same interests as me. And then you meet people who have similar interests as you, and you're like, wow, I still don't want to talk to you.
When I find out that someone likes anime, that's a negative for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, who the fuck am I to judge anyone for that? But like, I can't help it in my head when someone's like, yeah, no, I'm pretty into anime. I can feel like the number subtract in my mind, you know?
It's like 2 little boxes pop up on mine, and I was like, is it weird anime or not weird anime? And they have to say a few more things before they get put into a different box. But meeting the girls, they all went into, oh god, thank god they're cool people box. And we just had a great time, and we really vibed, and that was a nice feeling, especially going all the way to New York to the con. It was nice to meet people that you just really vibed with.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
It definitely makes you feel like less of a stranger. Like you're meeting someone there, and they're not from New York either.
No.
Maybe this podcast was a good idea.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe we did it in the end for Neve to get a New York holiday to a shitty con.
There was another con on that weekend as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, which we didn't realize, but we saw a lot of like Naruto cosplays around New York, and we were like, maybe just people dress like this in New York. They just do casual cosplay.
Maybe Naruto has finally become the LGBT icon that he deserved to be.
Him or Gaara.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah.
Yeah, Gaara's gay.
I could see Gaara on like RuPaul's Drag Race.
The only thing gays do.
He throws some serious shade and sand.
As well, in New York, I went to see Frozen on Broadway.
Oh, how was that?
This was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. This stage was entirely fitted for this production. And it's the entire story of Frozen. So at the bit where you have like Anna and Elsa singing to each other and like the big wooden doors, they had a big wooden door and it was on this rotating stand and they would spin and these beds would come in. When Elsa was doing her magic, would put her arm up and like icicles would literally burst out of the stage floor up along the ceiling. And it was just this feat of technical timing and engineering that was so fascinating. It was just like, I don't know how that's ever going to travel, because how do you like rig every stage to burst open with icicles? It was cool and it was engaging. They changed some bits of the narrative that I was not into whatsoever. So okay, for anyone who knows the narrative of Frozen, do you want to know what Broadway Frozen is like instead? At the start, they say that Anna and Elsa's mom also has magic powers like Elsa, because she
doesn't.
I know she doesn't, because she's one of the hidden folk, and the hidden folk in the Broadway production are these really, really sexy mountain people who dance through the window topless. So imagine like a guy you might find, I don't know, like a sexy hippie, but he has a fawn tail just out the back of it.
Wait. Hang on. Well, I feel like we just went into some different territory.
I know. You're just like, okay, is this still Frozen? They're meant to be the little rock people from the movie.
They suck.
They were shitty.
They were shitty characters, but they're more shitty as sexy adults.
Oh, I'd say they are.
So they're introduced as a crucial part. So they come dancing in the window and they're like, Elsa has hurt Anna.
Wait. So Elsa's mom is one of them?
She was raised by one of them, or maybe half one of them. I can't don't understand the connection, but they had helped her seal her powers as well.
But they told Elsa, conceal, don't reveal.
Yeah, they did. So the rock people come in, they sing the whole song and tell her not to reveal anything. They lock Elsa up and Anna away from each other, which seems weird because they're also suggesting the mom has had these powers all along and she's been living with them and didn't have to go into hiding. So it just seems like Elsa and Anna are being punished for this kind of thing by these sexy rock people. They dance away. Literally all the events of Frozen happen. And then the Fixer-Upper song happens, but instead of tiny rock people, it's again the sexy fawn people trying to convince Anna and Kristoff to get together. So they kind of have this long-running connection with the family that I do not think I like, because in the film they were just this weird rock family that raised Kristoff. But in the Broadway thing, they're an integral kind of part of the lore and magic in the universe.
That's strange.
So I was like, oh, I don't know if I like this change.
Are they usually backup dancers?
Yeah.
That has to be it, that, like, they just have to have, like, people on stage.
Yeah, like, They didn't have to. Yeah, they needed. I don't think they were going to have loads of puppets. Like Olaf was done with puppetry, and it was really good. It was a guy on stage, and he had like his puppet feet connected to his feet, so it was like a full size Olaf interacting with this guy behind him.
Cool.
How about the reindeer?
That was a person in a quad suit. You know those furry quad suits.
Yeah. My favorite one of those is the dog from the Tweenies.
What's this? Oh no, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like I feel so bad for that dude. That, it was just a guy. It was a man on all fours in a giant dog suit. But like the horse in Warhorse is done super well. Like that's a puppet.
Yeah.
But it's made out of wood and it's like puppeteered by two people and it gallops around the stage. I'm always interested in that kind of side of it.
Puppetry's amazing.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoever was in this quad suit was doing really well. It was hot and on stage, and they made that a really cute moose.
Sweet.
Or reindeer. Really enjoyable. A lot of people bring their children to see Frozen, though.
Oh yeah, they would.
Really interesting to see it on Broadway, because I don't know if I'll ever see it in that way, because they'd have to change so much technically.
Yeah, Broadway is fucking something.
Yeah, it's cool.
What Broadway shows have you seen, John? Because
I think I saw this. I can't remember what I've seen in Broadway and what I've just seen around.
okay, because we've both seen Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark.
Yeah, and I liked that. You didn't like it.
No, I thought it was a bad musical, but production-wise it was really cool.
Yeah.
Because they had 5 different actors playing Spider-Man because it's so exhausting stunt-wise. And it was done in like a New York theater. And the way the New York theaters are done is that they rent out that theater for like 2 or 3 years and they redecorate the inside. So it's not a like tour. So before the show even starts, you see you sit down in your chair and already you kind of know what atmosphere it's going to be.
Yeah, and I love that. I think that's cool.
But this should have been like in a big arena, not in a like original building theater.
But that's kind of something you notice about Broadway when you go to it, because this is the first time I saw anything. It's so much smaller than you think it's going to be, and way more like intimate.
And like the doors are right at the very edge of the wall, and then when like the show's over, they open up the doors and you could see the chairs in the street are like right there next to each other. It's crazy.
Is Book of Mormon Broadway?
Yeah. That's in the Eugene O'Neill Theater.
I didn't love that. And I think I'm like the only person I know who didn't.
I've seen it like twice. I love it.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of it as personally as Broadway, just because it's not very costume heavy.
No, it's not. The costumes are the weakest part.
They do some cool shit, like in terms of production.
It's got a very good set for Africa for when they go to Uganda, but like the main sell is the music because it's done by Robert Lopez, who also did the music for Frozen, and like it sounds like a Disney musical with fucked up lyrics. I wouldn't go see it a third time. Although, if they do a tour in a couple of years' time and do the
if they come here,
go to Dublin, fuck it, I go see them again.
I'd see them here. Won't travel for it.
Yeah, I do want to like go back to Broadway again. Like it's amazing.
I saw a Monty Python one before.
Oh, the one Spamalot.
Yes, and I loved that.
That's meant to be amazing.
It was fucking brilliant.
And like Tim Curry was in it and everything.
Yeah, it was just like, I remember just gasping for air. I was laughing so hard. Like, it was so good. And like the songs were great, and just everyone was really like, the actors all seemed to be having a great time. And with that, let's move into our strategy talk. So we all have PS4 Pros now.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We're all professional gamers.
All professional, hardcore gamers.
Do you guys want to do our roll call? Niamh, what PS4 Pro do you have?
It's just a black one.
Just a black one.
I tried to get the white one. They weren't in that day.
Fuck. John, what do you got?
Glacier, white.
Fuck. Me? I got the special edition.
Is this the translucent blue one?
Yeah. I'm one of... They made 50,000 of those. I'm one of the assholes that owns them. Mm-hmm. I have a black TV unit, so when I put it down on the black TV unit, you don't fucking see it at all.
Just looks black.
Yeah, it's just
sick.
It's invisible. All you can see is a gold logo floating on top, and like it comes with a vertical stand, but my TV unit isn't fit to like long vertical system, so I can't do anything with it.
I don't know what's wrong with me, but since the age of 360, I don't like the idea of putting my console vertical. I always think it's going to chew a disc.
So I'm
just worried about someone bumping into it and knocking it over.
I had my PlayStation 2 vertical once, and then one day someone kicked it over and it damaged the game inside. That was like, I was playing it, And I was like, well, never doing this again. And that's been a good decision.
Yeah. This also came with a camera, you know, the PlayStation Eye or whatever. Yeah, the fucking eye toy. Is that what it's called?
Probably.
That's in the box. That's not fucking leaving the fucking box. I don't want to set that shit up.
It's fun though because it'll like recognize your voice, so you can be like, PlayStation, turn on.
No, fuck that. No way.
Oh, I'd like that.
It's fun.
PlayStation on.
And then
You
you're
gotta
like,
say it.
Netflix.
What was that we
Netflix.
had to do that for?
Xbox on.
Xbox on. Xbox on. Xbox on. And then it turns on.
Yeah.
You know, you can't get Cortana in Ireland because they haven't done it for Irish accents now.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah, so on my computer, if I want Cortana, I have to change the region to American.
She's not going to understand someone from Offaly, will she?
No, she won't, but that's what they were like, we don't have enough people to justify ever making this work in Ireland.
So, have you guys noticed any differences between the original model and the PS4 Pro?
I have, but I feel like I'm playing games that take specific advantage of it.
Okay.
I've been playing Monster Hunter a lot again, and the frame rate increase is noticeable for sure. And like, I think a frame rate increase is really good for that game specifically. And then I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy 15, and I'm not sure specifically what's better. It definitely seems to run smoother. But I just noticed stuff like the hair textures are a lot cleaner. There seems to be a lot less or a lot more anti-aliasing, and it just is a much cleaner picture. So yeah, I'd say I for sure noticed it.
Yeah.
Didn't notice it at all in stuff like Street Fighter.
Yeah, like I've only tested out Bloodborne and GTA 5. Bloodborne is just, it's gonna be 30 frames per second no matter what now.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it does. GTA looks a bit crisper. It just looks like a really, really good 360 game. Like, it looks like the best 360 game I've ever seen in my life.
I'm trying to think, is there anything else you have? Because those are both quite early generation
But see,
games.
I'm gonna be getting Spider-Man in
You'll probably,
September.
I think you might notice it with Kiwami too.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to Spider-Man. I'm looking forward to Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I got the Pro, and just because my PlayStation 4 was making way too much noise. And I said I would only get a Pro if it was like a special edition. It's very it's super easy to transfer all your data across.
I didn't
You didn't?
want it. I was kind of like, that can stay there.
I
You know, it's kind of like, I'll just
But
download
you
stuff
have
I want to
two
play.
now, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Brian traded, or you have two now, but you want to get rid of one.
it's up online for sale at the moment, and there's a
Right.
couple people.
So if you want a PlayStation from Brian,
Yeah, I'll get John to autograph it and Neve to autograph it. I will.
you
not
know what? If
autograph
someone
it.
wants me to autograph I've autographed weirder shit.
Yeah, one time at Con Bravo, John had to autograph a plush dog.
Really?
I've autographed so many plush dogs.
I feel like writing on a plush is difficult.
It is.
Yeah, it was real funny to watch John like struggle, and like he kind of got to the end and he had to like write John on like the dog's butt.
Yeah, that's what happened. They are always hard to write on. One of my least favorite things to sign.
Why would I just don't understand why
I don't
would
like
give someone
signing
material.
plush dogs. I don't like signing figures. I really hate signing other people's artwork.
Yeah, I get that.
Because sometimes I'll do it if it's like official artwork, but sometimes people want me to sign like something that someone else in the artist alley has done, and I don't like that because I didn't do it, and what's more, my horrific signature is going to take away from the beauty of that art.
Yeah, it's not fair.
But then sometimes it's like people have literally nothing else and they really want you to sign it, and you don't want to be a dickhead either, so it's a fine line to walk.
What happens if it's just something you don't like?
Like what?
Like
I've signed that too. Someone brought me a My Hero Academia book.
You know, you're not a fan because
I think they knew I didn't like it and wanted me to sign it because of that.
like, take that.
And sometimes the weirdest thing is sometimes people will show me like autographs they've gotten from me before, and I'll have no memory of signing it at all. But like, there's the most evidence that I did, right? It's fucking weird.
So what would happen if like they gave you a piece of paper that was folded up and you signed it, and then they unfolded the paper and you had like agreed to something that you would not
You were
agree
married to them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they could just do that anyway. They could just be like, sign this blank piece of paper and then make a contract out of it afterwards.
Yeah.
Please don't anyone do that. I don't want to get married to anyone
Man,
but
that's such a good
some
move.
guy.
I'm gonna do that to you, John.
I'm not going to sign any. I'm not going to give you an autograph.
You are. You gonna autograph my PS4?
I offered you an autograph in Con Bravo and you didn't want one.
No, I don't want your fucking autograph.
Oh, guys, I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy 15.
Are you done yet?
Not yet. Like, let me rephrase. I'm fucking done, but I'm not done. You feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, it has been really interesting taking a deep dive into that game and looking back at what it was and what it was meant to be and what it is and what it could have been.
It's the worst one.
There is genuinely cool lore and characters in Final Fantasy 15, but they are either not in the main game or never made it into the main game. Like, there's stuff I've discovered about the lore of that game that is so integral to the story, so important. Do you know the entire deal with the King of Lucius?
Yeah.
How he has to, like, project the big wall thing? Where'd you learn that?
I read it on a wiki afterwards.
Yes, because I read it in the lore section of the tutorial that is separate from the main game that you never have to go into. You're never directed to go into it. That is so important to everything about that game. All the shit about Noctis and his responsibility, and it's not in the main game.
You're like, what's his responsibility? Why do I care about him? Why is he important?
So, look, I said this on a podcast before that never made it to air. People have been asking me why I'm playing 15 if I still don't like it, and the only thing I'd say to that is, why do you think I'm playing it? So I'm going to be talking more about it soon, but specifically, I guess what I wanted to touch on was the DLC. Have you played any of the DLC, Neve?
No, and it was specifically because I wanted to experience the game without it.
It is the best content of the game, and each DLC encompasses each character's entire character arc for that game.
You kind of figure that out, because when you're playing it, Gladio will be like, Noctis, I'm going away now, and then he'll just appear later on after you not being in the party.
Here's the thing, Gladio goes through an entire character arc in that like hour and 10 minutes DLC. That character arc is then forgotten the second he gets back to the game. You know the cutscene where Ravis kicks his ass?
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't really kick his ass, he like pushes him to the side. Gladio's feelings were really hurt by that. And so he went off to fight Gilgamesh to become stronger because he wanted to be a good shield for the king for Noct. And if you watch the prequel anime Brotherhood, that also feeds back into that a little bit, and all of a sudden Gladio starts to feel like a character. But that's not good. Like, that fixes Gladio's character. It doesn't make him better, it fixes him. All of a sudden he's a character with character development. That's the kind of shit we got that we never had to pay extra for in the previous Final Fantasies. We didn't. We found all about Barrett's daughter and his crazy old friend in 7. You know, we found all about, like, you know, all the fucking weird shit with Yuna in 10.
I think, like, the power of Final Fantasies is meeting party members, finding out why they're so different from you and why they're so interesting and why they would even want to help you, you know?
Some would say that might be the coolest thing about Final Fantasy. And in this, it's packaged into these hour-long chunks that you have to pay $5 for. I can't believe I'm saying this. I like Prompto. He's a good character if you watch the prequel anime and the DLC, which no one should be expected to do. Those story elements should have just been in the game.
Yeah.
They should have started when you start the game. They should have been developed throughout the game, and they should have come to a natural end.
I agree.
Like, with the Prompto stuff, the Prompto stuff is really cool, because, like, you see a very different side of him. You see how insecure he is. You get to spend, like, 30 fucking minutes with Highwind, what's her name?
Sydney?
The drag
Aranea?
yeah.
Oh,
and she's, I love her. She's awesome. She wears the fucking sickest, like, winter coat. She looks so cool, and the music in his DLC is awesome, and like the save points are all vending machines, so like whenever you save you get like these little like looping cutscenes of Prompto just leaning against like the vending machine with this really moody music playing. It felt complete and interesting in the way the main game doesn't even come close to, and the reason for that is this was a separate development, a separate team on a separate fucking continent, you know. And it's like, there's good shit in Final Fantasy 15. It's not in the fucking game. And like, this is all just to say, the DLC stuff, it fixes some of the problems with the story. I think what DLC should do, like my policy with DLC is, did I enjoy your game, and did at no point did I feel like I needed DLC to fix it. Say Artorias of the Abyss for the first Dark Souls. That to me is like the perfect DLC. At no point during Dark Souls was I like, man, I really wonder what's happening with all that Abyss shit. But then you download that and it opens up an entire new section of the game. Opens up a brilliant new character who like you'd heard of in the main game, but you never, he just sounded like another mythical figure from Dark Souls. And then you find out his amazing downfall, how he was this amazing hero, and now he's just this crippled demon at the bottom of a lake, and it's fucking brilliant.
It adds to the world and expands things outwards.
This doesn't. The Final Fantasy 15 DLC fixes the narrative problems with some of Final Fantasy's characters. And even then, it's like, so it's going to be an extra $15 or euro to play through all those. That doesn't fix the combat. It doesn't fix the open world. I'm not going to get into my specific problems with each of those elements, but those elements are more fucked than the story. The combat especially is lazy beyond belief. But I'm not going to get into that right now. But man, it has been fascinating looking at that game and just piecing together what's happened. And very much looking forward to saying more about that soon.
R.I.P. Stella.
Stella the car?
No, Stella was the character that Luna Freya became.
Really? Oh, I read about that. She was meant to be like a main protagonist or something?
There was a whole like really beautiful cutscene where Noctis arrived at a party and he goes upstairs and there's a piano and it's really luxe, and he meets this woman there who's Stella and she's wearing a white dress, and you're like, oh shit. Then it cuts to the two of them with their swords out and their dogs, and they're going to fight, and there's like this kind of thing about her kingdom and his kingdom and a balance brought together, and but they're at war or something. Then they turned her into Luna Freya, who
sucks.
She just sucks. She's got magical healing powers for a magical illness that's never explained or mentioned, and then gets knifed in the stomach when you finally meet her. Cool. My hero, my female character that I love in Final Fantasy games.
Neve, that's not fair. You got Cindy.
Yeah, great.
And oh my god, looking at the old Leviathan cutscene and what that boss fight turned into, holy fucking shit. Like it's weird. I'm really invested in Final Fantasy 15, but not as in like I love it, in that like I think this is one of the most bizarre disasters.
It's a mystery of game making, because like it's got so much product placement in it and stuff. It's so weird. And what did anyone see in what it is or was to be like, yes, let's put all this money and resources into this thing you've had to remake 7 times maybe?
At one point, Nomura burst in. He burst into Square Enix's like head offices and demanded to be heard because the previous night he'd seen in a performance of Les Mis and wanted the game to be a musical.
That would have been the good Final Fantasy 15.
This was after it was rebooted of Final Fantasy 15, and it sounds like the people were just like, no, finish the fucking game.
But what could have been? Ideas are great. It's just when you have to see the final product.
And some ideas in that game work. The hunt for the Deadeye, the behemoth, that's a really cool section.
I like the car travel. Generally.
Sure.
Like, I like the idea of them in a car that you can drive.
I love the idea that you're in a car you can drive. That world is so sparse.
To me, the most developed, fleshed out character is the Regalia.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll see. It's a sacrificial car.
Oh no.
Sometimes Noctis looks really fucking hot. And then other times he looks like a dirty dog.
He looks so fucked up. But yeah, it's something else, that game. Neve, tell us about Destiny Solstice of Heroes.
I am playing loads of Destiny 2, and the main reason is there is an event called Solstice of Heroes going right now. And we're at a point in Destiny 2's history where it's going to become something else. Whatever the reason, was it fan complaints, was it internal, they're kind of bringing Destiny 2 back to something more in line with Destiny 1. They're changing a lot of how it works, a lot of how the weapon works, a lot of how stories work. They're adding 2 new characters, enemy races. There's weird things happening in Destiny, and it's all coming to a head in the next Forsaken update. Before then, you get to experience the last hurrah of what this version of Destiny 2 is. So Solstice of Heroes gets you to play through all the stuff you've done in Destiny 2, but in a kind of condensed version of it. It's kind of like, I know, Destiny Kai of Destiny 2. So you go through everything in this most immediate way. You get a set of armor, which looks like your original starting set from Destiny 2, but it's all like burnt and shit looking. Cool. And you have to, yeah, it is. It's like, oh, whoa. I've been through so much. You get basically a laundry list of stuff you have to do, the grind. So it's like collect like solar orbs, get so many kills in Crucible, get so many super kills, do so many strikes.
Neve, what's a super kill?
So in Destiny you have your super. So it's kind of like your ult in Overwatch pretty much. So it's that kind of game-changing moment that might just clear a whole pile of enemies in PvE, or just might like change the tide in Crucible. So, but they're hard to pop because like you get one maybe per Crucible round and you might kill one person. So then if you have a thing that's like get 30 super kills, you're like, okay, that's at least 30 games maybe. Or maybe if I do this well, I can get it done in 10 games. So it's stuff like that. So you get a big list of stuff to do. I managed to do it in about 15 hours. And that changed my armor to Rekindled. Then I got a new list of shit I had to do. And this turns my armor into Resplendent.
That's not a word.
It is.
That is.
Yeah.
All right.
But, yeah.
That sounds like a video game word.
Oh, I mean, it started
totally.
in a video game, for sure.
But, that will bring my armor up to 400 power, which is the highest power you can get in Destiny until Forsaken drops. So there's a mad rush to grind out this armor and get this really nice armor by the end, because this only runs for a month. It's over on the 28th, so by the time you listen to it, if you haven't got your Destiny armor, you've fucked up. I was away for a lot of August, so I didn't think I'd get my armor, and then Ice-T posted up a picture of his Titan in his Resplendent armor, and I was like, if Ice-T can get this armor, then I can get this armor.
That is the most fucking Neve shit I've ever heard in my life.
But Ice-T's a leprechaun in the hood.
Like, Ice-T, sure. Ice-T is like, he's like probably busy, more so. And he can grind.
He probably has children.
Do you think he's just paying someone to grind for him? I think Ice-T believes in the sanctity of the Destiny 2 grind. Anyway, I managed to do it. I got my Resplendent armor, and I'm going to masterwork another one. And none of this means anything to you if you haven't played Destiny, but just so you know, the grind was fun. It didn't seem overly annoying, because a lot of the things that can get annoying in Destiny is you will look at a list of things to do, and you can do 95% of them. And then the last 5% is like, do this with a group of people or with someone from your clan. And you're like, well, I don't know anyone from my clan. It's just there to get the drops. I don't know anyone from this. I don't have anyone I play Destiny to. And you're instantly, as a solo player, kind of taken out of the race. This can be done solo. It's hard, but it can be done solo. So it didn't feel too shitty, and it felt like a good, nice, fun grind that really kind of celebrated all the amount of things you could do in D2. The armor looks nice at the end of it, and you can also collect tokens to get a t-shirt that I'm trying to get.
Wait, like a real one or a...
Yeah, so you get tokens for each kind of things you achieved in the year of Destiny. So like if you finished like a campaign, you would get 30 points or something, you know what I mean?
It's like that joke in The Simpsons where they're like, and you should win things by watching.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And like I've turned in 200 tokens right now. If I get another 50, that means you can click on this one thing that will bring you to the Bungie site where you get your Solstice t-shirt sent out to you. I don't know what that's going to be like or how it's going to work, but I'm going to try and do it in the last few hours.
Yeah.
As well.
I'll have a t-shirt out of it.
You know, like, I get where you're coming from with this stuff. I kind of got back into Monster Hunter, and I had a moment where like it's been a kind of stressful couple of weeks, and I was like, you know what? I just want to kill that monster I've killed like 20 times. And I went in there, I beat his fucking head in, and it felt pretty good.
It's pretty much like that. You just turn it on. You're like, I've ticked one of the many boxes I needed to tick now.
Gonna
Now I can
stick
turn
on a
it off.
podcast. Gonna
Yes. Perfect podcast game.
Mm-hmm.
Which says a
Destiny and
lot.
Monster Hunter, the same game.
But that's what I've been doing.
Brian, what's your Destiny Monster Hunter?
Bloodborne is my cocaine.
What's the new game plus count now?
New game plus 7, level 213, 180 hours.
It's pretty good.
What do you think your highest hour count in anything has ever been?
Either Pokemon, probably Pokemon Blue.
What do you think it was?
I think that was like, how many hours are in the age of 9?
Yeah.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
It was just part of my life.
I remember I turned on a friend's Pokemon Silver before. You know the way it says the hour count on the opening screen? 486 hours.
Ooh.
In fairness now, whenever we fought, the dude would kick my ass in Pokemon, so he earned it. In terms of my highest hour count, I don't know. I definitely like Final Fantasy VII was up around the hundreds. But I think there was only like 110, 120, maybe a fighting game. Maybe Tekken Tag 2. Played a lot of that as a teenager. Played the original Dead Rising, replayed it a lot.
You've never seen like the hour count and just went, oh no. I remember you could do a thing in Guild Wars, the original, where you do /time or whatever, and it came up like 700 hours, and I was like, oh no, I need to stop playing Guild Wars. Yeah,
because I would say across all versions, maybe Binding of Isaac.
Yeah, that shit's real bad.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
What's a year in hours like when you're a teenager?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know when you're younger and you're like, I got all the time in the world because I'm a stupid little kid.
Mm-hmm.
And then like in your 20s, you're like, wait, time is the most valuable commodity in the world.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of weird how you get older and your priority stops being money and starts being time.
And if something is wasting your time, you're like,
oh, you get fucking pissed.
You're like, this is ruining my entire day.
In a way,
I could use these 5 hours on literally anything.
Yeah, I could be ironing my shirts.
I think that's kind of annoying sometimes because I feel like there is something interesting about having the time to spend it with media you don't give a shit about, because it's so non-committal in a weird way, you know. Because like if I go watch like my favorite, or if seek out like something I'm going to watch, it's going to be something that's going to have a huge impact on me, and I'm going to drop stuff that will have less of an impact on me. But the lower impact stuff can also be nice sometimes, I'm kind of realizing.
No, you do need it. Like,
yeah.
Like, you know how you could be playing Destiny 2, but you could be learning, like, French. You could be listening to audio.
Fuck that.
Like, but no, like, you were going to do it the way it's supposed to be done.
Yeah, like, getting a free t-shirt means so much more to me than, I don't know, speaking French.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because when you're buried, when...
You can bury me in Destiny robes.
Yeah.
You can't bury me in France. You could. You could probably launch me from a cannon all the way to Ireland and I would land somewhere in France.
Sweet.
Yeah. And like it'll probably be like 2 years in the future, so cannon technology will have developed.
Okay, so who's going to die the first? John, you're it's probably you.
Yeah, no, for sure. I at this point I'm feeling like 6-7 months.
All right, that's March 2019. That's good stuff. Niamh, between you and me, who's going to live longer?
I have an answer for this, but I'm curious.
I feel like I'm eternal. So I'm going to say
no,
you.
Niamh, you burn hard.
Yeah, I think there's something that's telling me 36.
Yeah.
And it's been telling me that since I was
like,
16. I'm kind of afraid.
Like, I'm going to die before you, but you're not, like... I'll be like, oh, see you in a little while, Niamh.
I'll save
see you in hell.
I'll save you a seat down here.
And I think Brian
is actually eternal.
Like, that's the thing. I think if one of us is like an eldritch god, it's probably Brian.
I'm not going to deny anything.
Yeah, I know.
No comment.
Mm-hmm. He has a very comfortable way of living. Like, Niamh, me and you, we are constantly losing HP.
Oh, yeah.
All the time. Like, it's just...
Purposefully sometimes.
Yeah. Brian, perfect neutral, even has like a couple of +1s above his head every now and then.
I had just been saving tokens.
Yep.
Just in case.
Quicktime Events! Neve, we had a story a little while ago there, but we wanted you there to talk about it. Tell us about the new SWERY game.
SWERY announced his new game on Twitter, because that's how he works.
Which he's making with Arc System Works.
Yeah, it's a co-production. It's his SWERY studio, White Owl. It's their first in-house developed game. So, like, the game they're making, The Good Life Now, is out of house,
Okay.
but overseen by SWERY. So this is the first in-house one, and it's a co-production with Arc System Works. It's called The Missing, J.J. Macfield and the Island of Memories. It's the full title. He was very, very, like... That's the actual title.
I would love to see the production meeting where someone tried to argue him down to a simpler title.
Like, it probably is going to be shorthand The Missing in reviews, but, like, you couldn't say that to him. Like, SWERY
No.
would be like, no, say the full fucking title.
So, at the time when I had, like, first talked about that and we lost all of that, there was literally 3 screenshots out.
Yeah. Since
Now
then,
there's a video.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
There was Gamescom in Cologne in mid-August, and they had a trailer for it, and it looks sort of Limbo-esque.
Yeah, kind of like Limbo, Castlevania.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's like an atmospheric puzzle platformer.
Oh, I'm kind of...
Lots of turning gears.
It sucks. Okay, this sucks, and I'm the problem. I just want Deadly Premonition again.
He doesn't have the resources to make a game like that with the standards that are around now. So he's kind of doing what he's trying to do. But I totally get you.
Another game that looked exactly like Deadly Premonition, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, he's making Braid.
Shit.
But he's like making these in hopes to get White Owl, you know, a legitimate studio.
Yeah, like that's a really good baby step.
I don't think these are his magnus opus, you know. I think these are somewhere along the way, but they seem really, really cool. And because it's SWERY, I feel like he can take something like that doesn't seem suited genre-wise for that kind of weird narrative, but make it really weird, you know? Or at least I hope so.
Yeah.
He'll have his intimacy.
He's a freaky guy.
Yeah, for sure. Follows all of us on Twitter, along with like 29,000 other people.
He's sharing the love. Very, very thoughtful person.
Big fan of the podcast.
Yeah. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is out March 22nd, 2019.
Cool.
Just in time for when you die, John.
Oh fuck. Okay, I'll extend the clock. That's what I did for No More Heroes 2. Remember?
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna die, and then I was like, no, I'm gonna push that back.
So this was also it got a bit more detail at Gamescom, and they had some of the staff from Software at it, and they had proper gameplay, and they were running through the mechanics of the game. It was fantastic.
Do you know what I get excited about this game? The amount of shit that they're like, no, we took that out. So like, you know, say it's a Souls-like, the amount of, like, the amount of stuff they're just not doing. There's no leveling system. There's no character customization. You play like a character, and I like them taking stuff that's been so integral to their series and just removing it.
Yeah.
Like, to the point that I wonder, is Souls-like even a good term for this game? Although the combat looks...
It's got trick weapons like Bloodborne, and it's using a similar engine, and like it's a third-person action game. It's like a stealth game. It looks something closer to something that Platinum would make, but then it has these weird rules and mechanics. So it has this thing where your character can die, but if you have enough points saved up, you can revive them. But then you need to kill a bunch of enemies to build up that meter to revive yourself a second time, or a third time, or a fourth time, which is a really, really cool mechanic. And it has that if you're fighting an enemy and you're not feeling it, and you actually need to like get some space, it's super easy, because you can just like grapple arm hook out of there and kind of let them go back into their like routine.
That's interesting, because like getting away from enemies is a problem with other Souls games.
Yeah, the dodging in this game is amazing. Like, the hitboxes are so cool. So like, a character will swing their hammer, but if you can like time it just right and duck one frame before, it'll count as like the enemy missing you.
Sweet.
Because I've seen some like animation and people break it down frame by frame, and it's crazy like how detailed it is.
Yeah.
So I've been watching a lot of kind of like scrutinizing videos where like they're like, you could do this, you could do that. It's supposed to run like super well on the new PS4 Pro and on PC. It's not. It doesn't seem to have any like technical restrictions, which is cool. I never realized before that From Software made the Tenchu games. There was one kid in my school that was like super into Tenchu.
I was that kid.
Yeah.
Tenchu 3. Such, like, kind of a broken game, really bad hit detection, really stupid glitches in parts.
So these are edgy ninja games.
Edgy ninja games. But man, there was some really cool shit in them as well. They had they had a big story, and it's like you end up going into the future and fighting this weird office manager. It's kind of like the last fight from Rising Revengeance. But there was also like a co-op mode that like had this massive level that was designed to be taken only by 2 people, and it was really, it felt like one of those games where like, yeah, it was janky, but so much love went into it. Tenchu 3, PlayStation 2.
The kid I knew used to play Tenchu 1 on PlayStation 1.
Whoa.
And I think he fights Satan at the end of that.
Yeah, you do.
And it's just like there's lava everywhere, but it looks like shit. But that was part of the fun.
Yeah, those are fun games, and I like when they were announcing Shadows Die Twice, I was kind of hoping it was going to be another Tenchu, but it's fine that it's not.
No, it's its own thing, but you can definitely tell that someone in there still loves ninjas.
It's, I think if I start streaming, I'm just going to be a Tenchu streamer.
Yeah.
Just 1 to 3 and then back again.
I really like that we're getting something narrative based from them. Like,
Yeah.
I know this Souls world, the world is narrative, and it's such a strong, deep narrative, but like it's not character driven in the sense that you have your own.
No, I experienced.
This has a protagonist with stakes.
I experienced the narrative of the Souls games after I beat the game, and like I'm fine with that. But I'm also keen to see what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I like to see them try do a narrative story with a main character who is invested. You know.
I'm so glad this game exists, and I'm really, really excited to play it.
Yeah, big heavy hitter next year.
Yeah,
really, really looking forward to seeing how it goes. And we got some breaking news, at least on the day that we're recording. Streets of Rage 4?
Here we go, John. It's what you wanted.
Yeah, I guess so. I never thought I'd see this, ever.
The police are coming to arrest you.
The police cannot help you, only trust your fist.
So this is like done by the team that did Wonder Boy the Dragon's Trap.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that which was a good looking game.
That game
Yeah.
looks amazing. I have it on the Switch. Fucking plays like ass.
Really?
But it's using game mechanics from a Master System game.
Yeah, that's true.
Just in widescreen, but like it looks so fucking good.
Yeah.
The key art for this like Streets of Rage 4 looks really, really nice. Like, and they have a nice animated trailer. It has Axel and Blaze in it.
And they aged up Axel a lot, and they gave him a cool beard because shit's gone down, which is awesome. And then Blade just got like sexier.
Yeah, she's just she's a titty girl.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, cool. I guess that's what we're getting with this. But,
What's wrong, Neve?
well, there's going to be 3 male characters, and then there's going to be 1 girl character who is not for girls to play as, let's say. I'm going to be playing as Alex.
I'm confused. She's perfect. She's fine.
I'm probably going to play as her. Just something nice to look at while I play.
Anyway.
Isn't there another
That's why
girl
she's
in
in
the
the
trailer
game.
though, but I think she's a boss or something.
Yeah, she's a boss.
She looked cool.
She did look cool.
And she's wearing like appropriate clothes.
Just like fucking like, do you see the Claire Redfield redesign for Resident Evil Remake 2?
Yeah, she looks amazing.
She looks great. They gave her functional clothes while keeping the heart of her character there, which was the red iconic jacket with the patch on the back. And now she looks like she can ride her motorbike and kick ass and do it all like a normal fucking person. But everything else with Streets of Rage looks cool.
Yeah, it looks fun. I hope it plays well, because I think scrolling beat 'em ups are very, very easy to fuck up. Like, there is a balance to those games that I don't think a lot of people know about. And like Streets of Rage 2 to me is still one of my favorite games ever. Still beat that once a year. Streets of Rage Remix, if anyone gives a shit about scrolling beat 'em ups at all, that's pretty much the best one out there as far as I'm concerned. I'm really surprised. I hope it's cool. I don't really have any more thoughts about it
I
than
hope
that.
it's cool, and I hope the soundtrack is good, because the Streets of Rage soundtracks have always been iconic.
Yeah.
Theme of Streets of Rage 2 is like, that's up there with like Stickerverse Symphony for me. It's like those two songs. Well, Stickerverse Symphony is always going to be my favorite. But
So you want some hot synth and some fucking rad guitar solos?
yeah, and I was a little worried because the music in the trailer was cool music, but maybe not like what I think of when I think of Streets of Rage music.
Yeah, like it'd be cool if it had like heavier beats, but they'll go in sync with like punches and stuff.
Yeah.
And like maybe like there's flashing lights in the background, but they're going in sync with the music. I think they could really go for something.
Yeah.
Let's see if they do.
I hope so. I really want that game to be good. New Overwatch short. I have not seen this. Have you guys?
No.
I've seen it. It's starring D.Va, and it's called Shooting Star, and it is very nicely animated.
And is it a D.Va introduction short that they never made?
Kinda. Like, they haven't been getting around to everyone. I don't think everyone is ever going to get a short, but it's kind of like you knew they had a model of D.Va that they could use for a short, because she's appeared in other things as background characters, especially with Genji, and like her mechas as well. So
Yeah.
kind of, and she's just an obscenely popular character. So it kind of made sense to give her short. It's a long time coming. It's cool. It adds a little to the lore. She has a full rostered team, the mecha team of other characters she fight with, who has like their own mechs and their own code names. And the internet's doing its thing and creating fan art. And it was a good short. Like, really, Blizzard probably should make something more out of these, because a lot of people love them.
Are they testing the waters with a potential new character then?
There was like 4 possible options. You see, they're launching a map as well, which is set in the base, so all the characters' rooms are in the map kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just to add to the kind of minor lore with set details you see in the new map. You know, like Blizzard, they might like do something with that, or literally never do something with that, or just ruin it down the line. You never know. They don't really have any hard and fast rules, but it's a cool watch. D.Va's a cool character. It's nice to see her say more than just kind of cutesy phrases, and kind of have her be a character.
Is it going to be your loot drop?
Yeah, sure.
There you go.
Which is your favorite Overwatch short, Neve?
I really like the animated one with Doomfist, just because it looks fucking cool.
Yeah. What's the name? Like Black Dog or Dog Smoke Studios.
Yeah.
They are really, really fucking
I think
good.
the Doomfist one is the most recent one I've seen, but yeah, like that's very cool, because it's so different to all the other ones.
Yeah, I'd love if they like did some more mixed media or other like animated ones. That
Yeah,
would be
me
cool.
too. I never love Blizzard's cutscenes, but I always think they're like exceptionally well done.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys see that the Time Splitters license was bought?
Yeah.
Do either of you give a shit about Time Splitters?
Yeah, I do.
Oh man, Time Splitters is so cool. I love it.
I love Time Splitters too. That I think it's my favorite one.
That's one of the best PlayStation 2 games.
And it has like a map editor, and I remember a friend of mine, we used the map editor. We went online and we got templates for all the GoldenEye stages and rebuilt them in map editor.
That's so cool.
So we just played GoldenEye.
Yeah, those games were fun and they had a lot of personality. Time Splitters 1 was a real like I think I bought that on the day I bought my PlayStation 2. Whoa. And it was a really, really cool game. But yeah, I would love just remaster those games, just put them out and be really happy about that.
Yeah.
I mean, they could make a Time Splitters 4, but what the fuck is that in this day and age?
It could be a Doom, it could be a Wolfenstein, who knows?
I guess so, but even like they were such couch multiplayer games, you know?
A character shooter with an IP behind it.
I think if your character shooter is not out, you missed the boat.
We're back to single player games, and
Back
it's
to
amazing.
single player games.
Yeah, but it has to be really, really good.
And back to some emails. Brian, what do we got?
Okay.
This is my favorite section of the podcast. What about you, Neve?
It's alright. I love the people.
So I've got the emails here, but I have to turn my head slightly, so hopefully it sounds
Sounds like someone needs some small talk.
No, I'm good
Okay,
to go. I'm
good.
to go.
Because I had nothing.
Yeah, don't worry. Here's something. This is from Spaceline. So these are 3 questions. What are all of your favorite American fast food restaurants, and how do they compare to the ones in Ireland?
We went for a Wendy's, Brian, and I was pretty impressed with that.
Wendy's is my favorite, like McDonald's level fast food restaurant in America.
Yeah.
Because they're kind of around that price range where it's a hamburger and fries for about $10.
Yeah.
The burgers are amazing.
Five Guys started, maybe that's like a bit out of this kind of range, but Five Guys started selling in Ireland in the last couple of years, and I think their stuff's delicious.
Yeah.
Is Five Guys a UK one?
Five Guys Burgers and Fries is American.
Okay.
Yeah. They kind of compete with the gourmet burger restaurants here, like Bobo's and Gourmet Burger Kitchen, and then a few more bespoke ones that are kind of like
Bunsen Burger and stuff.
Bunsen and Bujo and stuff like that. Taco Bell fucking sucks.
Yeah, that's fuck that place.
So that's like all the way at the bottom.
Yep.
I've never had Popeye's Louisiana fried chicken, but I've always wanted to.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Wendy's would be my pick.
Yeah, same, Wendy's. Neve, did you have any interesting meals in New York?
I don't really eat chain fast food.
Why not? It's so good.
From what you tell me, it's not really.
Well, now, Neve,
it seems like you're rolling the dice for like a good time or a bad time.
sometimes, Neve, you just wait like 8 months and you just try and eat healthy that whole time, and then you just go for some real fucking greasy ass Burger King.
We did some IHOP when we were in LA, and that was bad.
Yeah, that sucked.
That was very sugary.
Then we did Chipotle, and that was also bad.
Chipotle sucked. We went to another one called Qdoba. That was pretty good, like Mexican food, like fast food Mexican food.
Denny's was just a nightmare.
I didn't go to Denny's.
No,
I'm kind of bummed
that
I didn't
was
go.
so fucked up because I just wanted like one thing from their menu. I was like, yeah, I'll get some pancakes. They're like, no, you got to get the pancakes, egg and bacon, or the pancakes, potatoes, and
Potatoes.
yeah, other shit.
America.
And I just and then like I just made an order. I gave them $10 and they gave me 3 plates of food, and I had to eat it all because you have to. And it was awful.
I guess if at a stretch, I'd say Burger King over McDonald's because I've had more of it here.
Burger King's cool.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like Burger King.
I really like the rodeo burger, the one that has onion rings and barbecue
that's
sauce.
so good.
So yummy.
Yeah.
So then about like Irish fast food, like the main difference here is we have chippers.
Yeah.
And the chips and chippers are completely different to the French fries. These are like a cut up potato into chunky chips.
Yeah.
And you can see, like, sometimes you can kind of see when they're all like lengthways, you could see the original shape of the potato at either end.
Yeah.
Which I think is always very fun.
And sometimes places will give you like the crispy bits,
Yeah.
which is like all the little deep fried bits that are just really tiny, and I like that as well. But you get a good fucking battered sausage, soak that shit in vinegar, then just slide it down your gullet.
And each place would usually have its own secret vinegar.
Yeah.
So you might like someone else's vinegar somewhere else. And my dad used to be the type of guy who'd be like, I'll give you a $5 for some vinegar. So he could have Angelo's vinegar at home. That was our local
Sweet.
chipper.
Chinese food is a tiny bit different to the Chinese food in America. America, they have like one of the most popular dishes is orange chicken, which I really, really enjoyed when I was over there. I got that at the airport in LA, and I got it at Cheesecake Factory as well, because Cheesecake Factory do fucking everything.
Yeah, they do.
But you can't really get orange chicken in Irish Chinese takeaways.
No, I've never seen that.
Yeah,
Like-
you
like-
can. You can get pineapple and orange chicken.
That's different. You said
Yeah.
pineapple and.
You can either one, like it'd be like favorite chicken. You can pick pineapple.
Because
and
I
orange.
see lemon chicken. I never see orange
The
chicken.
lemon chicken is very disappointing. Like I think the most popular thing is probably like sweet and sour chicken or something
Yeah.
like that.
Oh, yeah.
Or like I really like honey shredded chicken.
I think it'd be orange duck maybe rather than orange chicken.
That might be it.
Yeah. Like Thai food's cool. I like pad Thai. That's a very good time.
Pad Thai is both a good restaurant in Dublin and a simple Thai dish.
Our chain trying to be a Supermax trying to be Burger King or McDonald's.
So, I love Supermax so much. Supermax have tried to expand outside of Ireland into the UK and mainland Europe. They cannot do it because Supermax sounds too similar to McDonald's. And I think the family that owns it are the McCarthys or maybe the McDonnells. Like it doesn't work. Their fried chicken is awesome, and there's a Supermax in the train station, and it's kind of shitty, but I go there sometimes.
Brian, we should go for Supermax because you're always talking about how it's good, and I've never had a good Supermax. Like if it's the fried chicken I need to be going for, that's okay.
I'll take you to my favorite Supermax.
Okay.
It's not the one at the train station.
Okay.
Tasty and tempting food. Supermax. Okay.
What else we got?
Also, these are all food related because of the mukbang. Thank you, everyone.
Oh yeah, we hit the mukbang. Remember when Neve was like, we'll do a mukbang if we hit $600, and straight away I was like, Neve, no.
We haven't.
Well, here we fucking are.
We're gonna figure out the logistics of that hopefully in September.
We're gonna make the best goddamn mukbang.
I've been watching a lot of mukbang videos to see what to do and what not to do.
What's some what not to do is
Some people speed up footage while they eat the food.
fuck that.
Don't
do that. No. So they're 5-minute videos, but it's like no, like you sit down and eat the meal.
Yeah.
Okay, so does the food for the mukbang all have to be like the same kind of food?
I feel like the ones I've seen, they've had spreads. Like they could have like a certain kind of like chicken dish here, and they might have sushi over there.
It should be a platter.
I feel because there's 3 of us, we can afford to like, you know, get a little variety going.
Oh,
No,
yeah, we
I'd like variety for
Okay.
sure.
Yeah. The core of it will be the fucked up chicken though.
Yeah,
That restaurant is called Chicken Hut. John and I got chicken that was for 4 people, and we had it between the 2 of us. So we will probably get about 8 or 9 people's worth of chicken.
See,
for us.
Green Italia closed, Neve.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, Green Italia was a pizza place we really liked.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
Why?
it always kind of fucked me up the day after because it was so much bread, but it was good.
okay.
Okay.
Several cities in the US are known for specific types of food. Philly has its cheesesteaks, New York has its pizza, etc. What food is Dublin known for?
Donuts.
Yeah.
100% donuts.
Donuts.
Fucking money laundering donut shops.
5 years ago, the donut shops started coming, and they never fucking stopped. And there's like so many donut shops all over the place.
And these are like gourmet donuts, so it's not just like a sugar like coated deep fat fried donut. It's like a red velvet donut. Like
Yeah, or like a Mars bar donut or
Yeah.
a Bounty
What's
bar
your
donut.
guys' favorite donut place?
Rolling Donut.
yeah, I
probably.
like rolling donut.
Unquestionable, the king. I think their
they're-
maple donut with bacon on it, so good.
I think the Rolling Donut are the original donut branch that were on O'Connell Street operating that tiny little food stall outside the casino.
Really?
And so they expanded out into that, but then a lot of copycats.
Fair fucking play
I
them,
thought
because that tiny
Ainger-
donut shop was there for years.
Yeah.
I thought Ainger Donut was probably one of the first ones.
Danger Danger was
Yeah.
also one of the first ones as well. And I think that made them go, we could do this and do it way better.
Yeah,
So,
and
yeah.
then they expanded, and then they've closed everything up.
If you're
Yeah.
in Dublin, head to Rolling Donut and be like, let's fight a boss sent you, and they'll be like, what?
But maybe if enough of you do it, they'll be like, stop saying that.
We don't know what that is.
Fight no
Ask
boss.
for a sticky Neve.
She's not allowed in there anymore. Okay, and then number 3. If you were forced to choose one type of meat to never eat again, beef, pork, poultry, etc., what would it be and why?
Brian, you gave an answer for this earlier.
I did. Turkey.
Absolutely.
I would not miss that meat.
I feel like that's cheating though. Like no one, like turkey's like
Okay,
Turkey counts.
Beef, pork, meat. Beef,
Pork or
pork,
chicken.
I'd say pork.
Yeah, same pork.
yeah.
I
I'd say
love
pork.
me some pork belly. Do you ever get badly prepared pork and it tastes kind of sweaty?
Yeah, there's a lot of variety in chicken and beef. I could not let those two go.
Beef to me that's the king of meat.
How about seafood? What is your opinion on seafood?
I am all for it. Fucking shove it all in my throat.
Do you eat prawns?
Yep.
Some people are freaked out by prawns.
I understand it. I understand why. But that shit is delicious.
I had like I only ever had food poisoning once in my life, and it was a seafood chowder.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of always a little freaked about seafood, but I really like fish and
Because
anchovies.
they're underwater insects. That's what you're eating in seafood chowder.
I would
Yeah.
eat overwater insects if people would let me. They don't.
Same. I'm pretty okay with that as a concept.
Like it weirds me out when people are like, "Oh, I'd never eat an insect," and it's like I understand that you don't want to eat this like the scorpion on the stick,
Yeah.
but it's like, give me an insect burger.
Yeah.
I'll chow
That's
down on
mashed
that.
up with like I don't know quinoa or some
Yeah,
shit. It's all just
yum.
protein at the end.
Yeah, whatever.
There's a Vice documentary you should watch. Both of these.
Yeah.
Tasty bugs.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Do you eat seafood, Brian?
Yeah, no, I love seafood. I love shellfish. I like
mussels. So
mussels
good.
are really good, especially if they're in garlic, like garlic breaded kind of like powder.
Yeah, that's so good.
What is the weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
Frog's legs tastes like chicken.
Probably snails.
Escargot. I've never had escargot. I've had haggis and it's delicious.
Yeah. What about
I've
you?
never eaten that weird.
Have you ever eaten like a deep fried Mars bar or anything like that?
No, it's my life goal.
It's
one of my
amazing.
life goals to try one of them.
It's so good.
That sounds really
I bet I'd
gross.
love it.
Oh, it is like that's why you got to do it. It's fucking awesome. John, come on. John, you eat so much food. What's the like weirdest thing you've eaten?
I'm trying to think.
Have you ever eaten like a brain or a heart? Would you?
Yeah.
Would you eat a bit of human?
I would. Okay. I'd be really sad if I died without eating some human.
Really?
I want some good long pork.
I would never. I think that would break my mind. I think if someone was like, "Here's a little bit of a person,"
I'd never eat like
die.
I'd never eat like a dog or a cat.
Like,
What about
I would probably eat a human before I'd eat a dog or a cat.
Yeah, same.
But like, I don't want to eat a human either. But I'd eat one before a
No,
dog
I
or
want
a
to eat
cat.
a human.
oh,
Okay,
man.
okay. How about you're in a room, right, and they have like 3 cooked meats, and they all look delicious, and they're all seasoned. One of them was from a human leg.
Okay, and like, do I get to pick the other 2, or is it just like, here's 3 dinners?
Yeah, what's the scenario here?
Yeah.
One looks like barbecue pork. One looks like barbecue beef, and the other one just looks like you're not sure. And you eat it, and it might have been the barbecue pork, but you don't know, and you have to think about that for the rest of your life.
You're bad at Saw.
Yeah, well, no, I'm a good person.
You're bad at.
I don't want to be a Saw.
That would just be dinner to me. I'd just be like, that's fine. And if someone was like,
Did you know that could have been human? Maybe.
Yeah.
No, it was like
Okay. I feel like it's weird because I have to eat 3 dinners to like suffer there.
I don't like mixing meat.
Like you wouldn't have like a surf and turf where they have.
I had a surf and turf once, and I looked the person in the eye who gave it to me, and I was like, "This is a ridiculous fucking way."
Oh
to
no, I
eat."
really like surf and
So
turfs.
you ordered it and then they
No,
were
he ordered it.
Okay.
No, I love surf and turfs. Like I love getting like a strip line steak, and then you get like prawns on like a skewer.
No, it sucks.
One time it wasn't prawns. It was
Although-
shallots or scallops. I think they're okay. Scallops make me sick. They're disgusting.
So Brian, you were saying that it's like prawn on a skewer as well as something else.
Well, no, like the steak and prawns on a skewer, and they're all grilled.
The thing I ate was like a sandwich that had like seafood and meat in it at the same time.
No, fuck that.
Fuck that. Yeah, okay, we're agreed.
Like it's gonna mix all together when it's inside you, but it should be presented side by side on the
I
plate.
might have had kangaroo meat.
That's good.
Yeah, that seems plausible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I might have had alligator meat as well.
Nice. I bet that's really chewy.
I don't remember it. I really want to try. Oh, I hope they're not endangered. Whale.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Stop trying to eat humans and whales.
I will stop trying to eat whales.
No, like you should not eat like any sea mammals. Like they don't. And like.
Hey,
they really don't
let's
like-
just see how we go.
So there we go. Thank
There
you
we
so
go.
much.
Thank
Thanks,
you. That was a lovely
Spaceline.
email.
Would you eat a human?
Yes.
Okay, this is a bit of a long one. This is from our very special Sudanese listener, and it was sent a while back. It's from Musti or Mustafa, and the short of it is that you only have so much money to spend a year on games. What game should Musti get?
Do we got options?
Yeah, we've got Bloodborne Game of the Year edition, which is 1,830 Sudanese pounds. Yakuza 0 is 18,010 or 1,810.
I don't think we
pounds.
need to know the prices. I think we're alright.
No, I find that very interesting because Evil Within 2 is 1,400.
Wow.
You don't like the price of things?
I don't care. Come on, what are the games?
That's it.
I like the price of things, Brian. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, John's just being
It's your
dismissive.
vote. You're both just losers.
John, you're just being a bit of a dismissive dog. Bloodborne, Yakuza 0, and Evil Within 2.
I do not think you can go wrong.
Would either of those?
Yeah, I think those are all really great games for very different reasons.
Yeah, that's the thing. These games, I feel like these are games that you can become fanish of, like super fanish of any 3 of these games. But it's kind of like which one do you want to enter? Like they're all good.
Yeah, they're all good. What I would do is, I'm not sure if you can like trade them in or anything like that, but like Yakuza 0 is definitely one you could play for the story and trade it in afterwards.
Oh, I don't know about that. There's so much you can do in that game.
No, yeah, like
I still play Yakuza 0.
For the mini games.
Just trying to do all the weird shit around Kamurocho.
But like, let's say you do all the weird shit and you complete the game, like you proper complete it. I think that would be it.
I feel like you could say that about any game in existence, though.
Yeah, like I feel like Yakuza is a good one in terms of how lost you can get in the mini games.
Yeah, like I love like I'll just still wander around those cities and be like, let's see what I run into.
I think they're different mind places. Yeah. Like if you want Yakuza 0, you could play that in a light capacity or a hard capacity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You could go hard on the story or you could chill with some mini games. With Bloodborne, you kind of have to go hard every time unless you're grinding.
And like, I'd be really, really like bummed out if I didn't like that game and I paid a shit ton for it.
Yeah.
So
like you were when you first bought it.
Yeah, and like I don't know if you're gonna get that experience where all of a sudden you like turn around on it and you really like it. So I don't know if I could recommend Bloodborne if your options are limited.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, is because like Bloodborne is such a cool world to be in, but there is kind of a little bit of give. There's more give to that than you have to do with Yakuza 0, and maybe you're just someone who would not click with. But I think Yakuza 0 might have more.
I feel like Yakuza 0 there's an element of like it can be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
As in, where do we stand on Evil Within 2? Did you ever play that, Brian?
No, I've only played the first one.
Man, I think you should. I think you'd like that game.
Oh yeah, no, I'd like to play it, but I'm gonna end up playing Resident Evil 2 Remake before I play it.
When's Remake out?
January.
Sooner than you think.
That is much sooner than I thought.
I really love the Evil Within 2. I think it's a good game. I think when you have the option of Bloodborne or Yakuza there, it would drop down for me just because it doesn't have the same level of replayability.
Yeah, and like I really loved the Evil Within 2. I thought it was a brilliant game. It is at the point though where it's as good as I think it can possibly be, but it doesn't maybe stick with me the way my favorite games do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think everyone here would be more likely to fight for Bloodborne or Yakuza before the Evil Within.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as someone who loves Bloodborne the most, get Yakuza 0.
Yeah, I think if funds are limited and you need one game to beat every game, there is so much to that game.
Yeah, like that game is an escape.
Yeah, totally.
Which is what video games are meant to be.
Yeah. Great email.
Thank you. Okay, this next one is specifically for you, John, and it's from...
Oh boy.
It's from Gizmo, aka Mexican Trash Mash. According to Wooly from Super Best Friends, he says that your line of thinking in terms of anime is that for you, if a show isn't doing anything different or new with their established formula, it isn't worth your time. My question is then, what makes Hajime no Ippo or One Piece different, because they don't seem to change or challenge what shonen shows are? They tend to follow them so that it makes those shows worth your time.
Okay, I feel like this is something that's come up once or twice on Twitter, and I'm sure far more than that in comments and stuff, but there is an element of like Chinese whispers happening here.
Something is it's hearsay and it's turned into misinterpreted gossip.
So the thing people need to know about that conversation I had with Wooly was that was like 2 a.m. and we were both drunk.
I was there, yeah.
Yep, Brian was there.
People were not sober in there.
We were not sober,
it was
and
drunk
it was
talk.
a big, silly drunk talk about the nature of media and the way big, silly drunk talks tend to be. So here is my actual stance, because basically he said something on the podcast, and then Pat, like Pat does, repeated it back to him in a more exaggerated manner. So Wooly would be like, yeah, I Patch Wolf only likes stuff that like is doing something different. And then Pat says, man, that's such an elitist way to think about it, to only like media that progresses the medium. And people have messaged me with like quotation marks about that when I never fucking said that.
Yeah.
So here's what it is. In my media, I like it to A, either do the same thing better than has already been done before. If you're going to make a shonen battle anime and you're going to have it about fights, if I'm really going to get invested in that series, those should probably be the best fights I've ever seen. If they're not the best fights I've ever seen, it's totally fine for you to do something different. And then if you're doing something different, it doesn't even have to be that good as long as I've never seen it before. That's not the same as needing something to like push a medium forward or anything. It just means that I'm not gonna waste my time with something if it's not going to like bring me something new or something I can think about. And this is another part of it as well. I never said those things shouldn't exist. I've said I wouldn't watch them. And that is just me. Like, I mean, loads of people love stuff I don't like, and I'm cool with it. It's not like I don't think they should exist, but I'm not gonna praise them either. Now, sir, as for One Piece and Hajime no Ippo, dude, Hajime no Ippo has been running since 1989. The reason that feels like everything else is because everything else is doing what Hajime no Ippo did. That was one of the first sports animes to take the concept of like a fight and just boil it down into this super simple but incredibly effective formula. And One Piece, I would say, is kind of similar. I mean, that's been running since how long, Brian?
It's 21 years old this summer.
It's 21 years old, but also like, to call One Piece a typical shonen anime, I think is to really not understand what that show is doing. Like, the world that show has built around those characters. Like, it has done an incredible... Like, that is maybe the densest fictional universe I know of.
Yeah, for sure. Like, it's up there with Game of Thrones in terms of detail about what type of weapons certain armies use.
And even then, I'd say even like just by sheer character count, I don't think Game of Thrones would even come near to One Piece.
Like, when you think of something like the Dragon Ball universe or the Naruto universe, you get stuff that's hinted at, but like they never take the time to explain how a city is run.
There's like maybe 70 to 80 named Dragon Ball Z characters.
Yeah. And something like during the Water 7 arc, they take time to explain how the water flows around the city and how it's an integral part of how it's run.
Yeah, and like I don't see that in other shonen series, especially not pre One Piece. It was never about the world building. It was always about like, you know, just the fighting or the characters, the action.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I would really question someone who saw either Ippo or One Piece as a typical shonen. But yeah, also like when I watch media, I want to see it better than I've seen before, or I want to see it different. But that's just me. Like, not everyone's like that, and I get it.
And like you've got some shows where you know what it is and you like it for that.
I watched a whole bunch of Fairy Tail,
and that's not breaking any new grounds, because like,
absolutely not.
Because that show is a One Piece clone. Visually, it is.
I think Fairy Tail would be doing pretty well even to be a One Piece clone.
Yeah. But like, that is just something to put on when you need to just not think.
I'll watch Fairy Tail when like, well, I haven't watched it in years and I probably won't, but like I would just put that on when I wanted like to draw or to do something in the background. But like, I'm never going to go to bat for Fairy Tail. I'm never going to tell someone they should watch Fairy Tail. I'm never going to like do a video about it. It was just something that I needed, and I have a fair few anime like that. So yes, that would be my answer to that question.
Neve, do you have anything to say?
Anime. How do you feel about that though, Neve? Like, if you play a game that's functional but has done everything it does, you've seen done better elsewhere. How do you feel about that?
It depends on what it's doing the same if it's good. Like, if I think about maybe, say, the BioWare games, where it's kind of the same recipe in terms of your character and the character relationships and how those progress out. A lot, like Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 are pretty similar. They evolve their combat for better or for worse. It's not really why you're there. I'm not in Mass Effect to play the shooting.
Yeah.
So I'm still there for the thing they haven't evolved that much, which is the character relationship tree. You know what I mean? And for me, it doesn't need to do anything different, because what's different are the characters.
Yeah.
You know, so it doesn't really need to progress it out.
But even then, I'd say, like, if it's part of the same series, I think you know, people are there for specific things from that series, so like I'd be much less stringent on that. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, totally. And we saw with Anthem where they're like, we're not doing that anymore, how pretty much all the BioWare diehards are kind of like, well, then you don't have me as a customer kind of thing.
What would you do if someone came out with a spiritual successor to Mass Effect and it did what Mass Effect did, maybe like as effectively or a little less effectively?
Yeah, I'd be totally into it.
Because for me at that point, I'd be a little bit like, maybe I should just go replay Mass Effect.
You see, it's so character based that, you know, you're not going to give me the same character unless they're making clones of all the characters as well, that I can kind of live without the mechanics changing too much if it's being changed interpersonally.
I guess so. I think at that point for me, if they start getting into like very different kind of characters, then it starts to become something different enough that I give a shit. You know what I mean?
I think it's also different because with shonen, like the character writing is only going to be so deep because that's not the goal of it. There's a lot of characters and it's more their interpersonal relationships, where with something like a BioWare game, it's more adults are playing this game and there has to be more like nuance with characters and
I would say
romance.
It depends on the series there.
Yeah, totally. Then like I think of other things like sitcoms. And you have stuff like The Good Place, which seems like an evolution, but the same thing nearly. But are you kind of like, I love that, like as an evolving thing.
For whatever I'd say about The Good Place, that definitely feels like a different kind of show.
Mm-hmm.
It's a response to the confession cam reality shows that kind of occurred before it.
I'm watching a lot of old sitcom that I used to watch before. I've just been watching all the Friends and I've started Will and Grace, and it's like the same basic tenets of sitcom, but they're taking away the safety of location. So it's kind of like, this is the same thing, but slightly different in this way that just changes it, and it's just that they can use CG, you know?
Yeah.
It's a little technical thing as well that changed it. But it depends on what it is, I guess, is the answer to that question. I don't know. There's been very few things I've turned off because I've seen that done before, because I want to see how they do it, you know?
So A Good Place is good too, because it has a continuous narrative where either way Friends you can miss an episode, but then you can kind of figure stuff out.
Like there's a season arc, but most of them won't feed into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas with The Good Place, if you miss an episode, you have to go back and watch last week's one before you watch the new one, because you're not going to understand the stakes anymore, because it shifts every few episodes.
Which felt like a slow kind of evolution with that kind of comedy stuff, with 30 Rock into, say, Community, into Arrested Development, how it's kind of standalone, merging more into the kind of overall arcing narratives as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm kind of like, I think it's different when it comes to shonen and anime stuff because they're so heavily drenched in genre.
And the fact that they're running it week to week and they could get cancelled at any point. So doing like plant and payoffs, that's a risk. Like, because you have to keep people interested in the short term.
And I think the more shonen can break away from that genre stuff, or at least like cross-pollinate with other genres, the better off it'll be.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, my favorite type of manga or anime is shonen battle anime. I never want to read another straight up nice boy tries hard shonen battle anime again. Like, I'm done. Like, are you going to do it better than Yu Yu Hakusho? Like, is it going to be more surprising than Hunter x Hunter? Is it going to be like better executed than Hajime no Ippo? Is it going to have a better world than One Piece?
So you're not gonna read or watch Black Clover?
I've read or watched all I need to of Black Clover.
Is it the most serviceable thing ever?
It's fine. It's fine. I'm sure there's a passionate argument for why it's good. I've just seen it. I've seen it before.
I think that also comes with just like experience and age, with like watching things that you're really into, is that the tropes become obvious, the narrative becomes obvious, the plots, the setup even, you're just like, oh man, okay, I know where this is going, I'm gonna guess it, and yes, it went exactly there. So you've kind of built up this kind of mental dictionary and mental map that you see kind of reused. And in some cases it's not bad. Like, you might buy a book that's like the 10 tenets of doing this correctly, and it would lay out all of that shit there, and you'd be like, okay, these are beats I need to hit. and that's good to give a framework, but then when you don't move beyond the framework, sometimes it's kind of like
I see that as good practice.
yeah.
But if that's the art you're putting out there, like this is what I call it sometimes. I feel like there's a lot of stuff out there, and I consider it like checklist art, where people are watching something and this is really common in anime. It's been designed to appeal to a certain crowd, and that crowd is sitting there checking all the things they want to see off it.
It's like that in Oscar movies as well.
Yeah, like cat ear maids and stuff like that. The only reason they're there is because the fans want to see them, because it's seen as this niche, quirky otaku thing. But I don't like stuff like that, and I think this is why certain corners of the anime community hate me so much, that I don't like being pandered to. You know, like
what Brian said about the Oscars, it kind of comes back to this idea where there's a group of people who have said there's one way to do it, because like we have a friend who's made an Oscar book and it's full of Oscar stats, and he was telling me, if you were a woman, the way on paper to win an Oscar is to play the role of a 1950s housewife waiting for her husband to come back from war, because that's the majority wins that women have gotten roles for, and they're still getting them, and they're still making that kind of movie. And who is that to appease anymore other than the Oscar, you know, the people who give Oscars,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
They fucking love their period dramas.
Yeah,
And if it's got war, you got fucking contention right there.
Exactly. If it's got like fucking
still relevant, damn it.
Jennifer Lawrence looking moodily out the window when will my husband come back from the war, maybe an Oscar. And it's kind of like it's a checklist happens, then it's kind of like, well, this is the tenets of this, and if it doesn't have this isn't the thing it should be. And then people are watching things being like, well, I expect X, Y, and Z from this because this is this thing. And it doesn't allow for creativity, but then other people with money won't give budgets to things that will stretch creativity, especially when people have their checklist out and they're like, I want X. And if you don't give me X, there's going to be holy murder.
Yeah, and like I get it. Like, thinking up new stuff is really hard. Like, and you could think it up and it could sound great, and then you could figure out why it's a total failure like halfway into production.
I think there's like so many interesting new stories ready to be told, but people don't take chances on them. People with the financial backing don't, because you can project what something is going to make based on history. And you're like, this does this well. And will we go with the projection of a number that we can believe in, or do we take a chance and maybe it will flop and maybe it will rise to the top?
Yeah, and like if anything with video games, I think it's kind of been, this generation I feel like we've gotten away from that a little bit, and that makes me really happy. Like, you've seen a lot of like new titles come out and do well, whereas like the 360 generation, that was like the sequel generation. So yeah. Brian, what else we got?
Okay, we got one more email, and I'm not going to say the person's name, but he's in the middle of a breakup. My girlfriend said she needed some time about our relationship. Regardless, I feel terrible, especially in the nighttime. I feel like I'm drowning in sadness, which makes it really hard to fall asleep. In the daytime, I try to distract myself as best I can and meet with my friends and talk to them, but it's still hard not to give in. Have you ever experienced someone breaking up with you? If yes, how did you cope with it?
I've never been broken up with, but I can definitely think of a few times where, like, not necessarily a romantic relationship, but a relationship went bad and it like hurt for a long time after that.
Yeah, it's like a social sense of loss.
Yeah. Like, where it's still someone you really care about, but it was difficult because I always found it was the sort of thing where it would be on my mind every day, like without fail, sometimes for weeks or even months. And then one day you just have that day where it's like, oh shit, I didn't think about that today. Like, it just didn't enter my mind. And you might not have a day like that for another week or so, but then you will. And then they'll start getting more common, and then eventually, like, time will go by and you won't have thought about it anymore, and you're kind of over it. And so I guess, as unhelpful as an answer this might be, I think time is really important when getting over stuff like that.
Yeah.
They say with a breakup, it's like half the length of time you were together it will take to get over the breakup. So if you were together like 4 years, it might take you 2 years to get fully over them or something like that. I don't know how true that is. I'm sure loads of people move on sooner and some people move on way slower.
I hope Michelle never breaks up with me.
I hope so too.
It probably just depends on how busy your life is. And like...
Or what you
events.
expected from the relationship, like maybe to the person who dumped you, this was casual, or like they always had this voice in their head that was like, this isn't working. But maybe to you, you're like, can't wait until we move in together. You know what I mean? You never really know where someone else is emotionally with something, so it might seem easier for them to move on. Maybe A, because it is, or maybe B, you don't really see what they are actually going through, and they're having is just as bad time.
Did it say anything about how long a relationship this has been?
No.
Okay. Well, like, I find sometimes, especially in the early stages of a relationship, people... Like, I kind of think this is the difference between, like, infatuation and love. I think in getting infatuated with someone is falling in love with the idea of them in your head. Whereas actually falling in love with someone is falling in love with who they are and all their shitty habits and their dumb ways of doing things. And I think in breakup situations, it can be very easy to just keep thinking about the infatuated version of them, because that's the person who also wants to be with you, because it's this version of them, this perfect version that exists in your head. And if they don't want to be with you, that's like a different person. So if you did get back together, you wouldn't be with someone who's with you. Does that make sense?
I get you. It's like this idealized version of a person that you're trying to be with.
And part of that idealization is that they want to be with you when actually they don't. Mm-hmm. And I think people can get really hung up on that.
Yeah. I think the thing you have to understand is it is painful. You are in pain. Your pain may last a long time. It may last a short time, but it is there. And you have to acknowledge it, but also understand this is not the end of it.
No.
And you will love again. You will meet someone else. You are capable of love. You know that you've loved someone before, so you can do it again.
Yeah, and like you, one way or the other, whether you like it or not, you will naturally move on from this. Because that's just what happens, you know? You'll, like, that is the way relationships work.
I think the first time you break up with, like, a first breakup is, like, the most devastating as well. Like, just the first one you have in your life. Because it's like, I am not prepared for this feeling at all. Like, and but I loved them, you know? It's like, it's this kind of, like, ownership over your idea of love, you know?
Yeah, it's the complete opposite of, like, the honeymoon phase where it's just, like, this partner accepts me.
I also don't think it helps that so much media is about like the first 6 months of a relationship.
Yeah.
And so little of it concentrates on either sustaining a relationship or a relationship ending.
Yeah, because they want to keep the TV show interesting and have a new special guest love interest.
Yeah.
Because that's how fake reality works.
Mm-hmm.
I watched When Harry Met Sally recently. It's a good movie about relationships.
Do you guys find, like, indulging in media is a good way to kind of get over stuff like this? Like, say, if you have a breakup, or even, like, a breakup is a big deal. It's like a death in your family. It's like it's someone being removed from your life, like, without any control.
Totally.
It's like a friend group might change. Like, all these things happen. So it's like moving. It's like a death. It's like, it's a big shake up to your emotional core. Do you think it's good to indulge in media you like, or is that can be dangerous? Do you think it's good to indulge in media about breakups or about love when you're in this mode?
I think it's good. I think you have to set a hard line though, and know, like, because there is going to be a bit where, like, you believe the fiction of something. And, like, that's great for coping, but maybe, like, 6 months later, you're like, what the fuck was I thinking? But that's great, too.
I think the first time I saw Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind was after my first girlfriend dumped me. And I didn't know what that was about. And it's about erasing someone from your memories because you can't deal with the pain of that. I found that movie really, really upsetting, but also really super cathartic because it made me think, you know, the memory of what we have is nicer than not having it,
Totally.
you know? And maybe what I should cherish here was the good times we had together and not this current pain. And I figured that out by bawling my eyes out. So watch Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah, like maybe there's some stuff you learned about yourself during that part of your life that will be part of your life for the next part of your life.
Hope you feel better soon, buddy.
Yeah. You rock.
Yeah. And that's it for emails, am I right, Brian?
It is?
Which means we're going to move on into our loot drop. Brian, what do you got?
Okay, I got 2 loot drops. It's just because my friend Heber was telling me about Nirvana, the band, the show. But him and his friends, they do a film reads podcast. It's kind of like a podcast, but it's up on SoundCloud, where they get a famous movie and they break it, and then they record it playing all the characters with a narrator, and it's very, very funny.
I've heard some good stuff about this podcast.
Yeah, so they do one. So like some of the examples of a joke would be like, they'll do Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, and then so it'll like start off with like Harry Potter, and he lives in the little room underneath the staircase, and then they'll be like, and here is Uncle Vernon, the human equivalent of Brexit. just shit like that. And like they do one where it's like Back to the Future, but like, and like it's movies we all know, we all kind of know the beats of the story, but they'll just kind of subvert certain bits just for a laugh. And it's very funny. And yeah.
I guess the D.Va short is my loot drop.
Oh, it's so good that you had that prepared.
I have one prepared.
Okay, what is it?
What's it, K-pop song?
Why Do I Hate Myself by
Philosophy Tube. Yeah, I watched this. This is cool.
It's about that little voice that kind of negs you and is kind of a dickhead to you, and what that voice might mean by different people's interpretations, and about hating yourself being kind of a general experience outside of obviously depression. But it was just a really interesting video, and he was really cool to do it. I think he was very vulnerable.
I got a video from one of my longtime favorite YouTubers, Matthew Matosis, and it's about God of War, and I think it's just called God of War, a case study, but it's basically a 40-minute breakdown of God of War and kind of his issues with the game. And like, I didn't ever really get into God of War in a way that like it ever really pulled me in, and it was really interesting seeing him break down his issues with the game, and just I kind of was on board with a lot of them. And I think he's a fantastic YouTuber. I love his stuff, and he's interesting because like he really doesn't come at it from an emotional standpoint at all. Like, I feel like he's like kind of the opposite of me and a lot of other people, and it's just cold hard writing, but it all is really succinct and it all makes sense, and he puts across his points like so well.
I think once he's ever laughed in his videos.
He will make a joke the odd time, and it's really funny, but like he makes less jokes than Joseph Anderson.
Yeah. And like Joseph Anderson's like a bit sarcastic. He's got something.
Joseph Anderson's a bit sarcastic and a bit silly.
Yeah. Joseph Anderson's also making a God of War video.
Oh, really?
And I think it's going to be like 3 hours long. So I'm so glad the God of War videos are coming out, because I don't think I'll ever play the game, but I'm going to know all about it.
Oh, and he actually does an interesting bit at the end where he talks about like why he was making the video, and he's like, because I can tell the YouTube contrary machine is just getting ready to whir up on this game, and I never thought I'd be part of it, but here I am.
Fuck yeah.
And it was really interesting. Like, there's a really interesting bit towards the end just about like YouTube and criticism and the point of it, and he's kind of like, I don't know, and like he goes like, anyone working on this game is more talented than I am, you know. So he's really just down the middle about it, and he's great. I love that guy.
Sweet.
So, yeah.
Okay, I got one more, and it's a Super Mario World OVA. I did not know this existed. It's up on YouTube, and
what?
When you put on captions, it subtitles it for you because it's in Japanese. It is an anime about the entire story of Super Mario World.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
From when?
Like 1992, I guess.
Does it look good?
Looks alright.
Okay.
It's kind of like Dora the Explorer. It's for like... It's a learning education OVA.
Fascinating.
But yeah, it's all in Japanese, and there's a bunch of Yoshis, and they all have like cute little voices, and like it's like weird looking Yoshi compared to like how Yoshi looks like now. I'm cool. I'm really glad this exists, and I've never seen it, and now I have, and you should too.
I'm gonna check that out. That sounds great.
It's great.
Okay, guys, we're gonna close this one out with our Patreon level ups. Neve, would you like to go first with a message from David W. Nichols?
All hail the podcast queens and their mildly insubordinate weeaboo edgelord.
Wow, I didn't know we had an edgelord on this show. Just 3 queens, right?
Get out. Alright, this one is from Ryan Gelatin. Hey guys, will John ever be the podcast queen again? And can we change the title to Podquast Queen?
Again?
John has never been the podcast queen. The joke is he never will be.
No, we'll see. I'm feeling real good about my predictions this year. Finally, from Pancakes. Hey Alpha, but just wanted to say I've been going through a bit of a rough time lately, and listening to old episodes of the podcast has helped me get through it. Thank you for creating such a great podcast. Pancakes, you take care of yourself and you feel better.
All of you on the Discord, you guys rule.
Yeah.
We love you.
Thanks.
We have a Discord. If you support us on patreon.com/LFAB,
patreon.com/LFAB,
you can join the Discord, and you might have your message called out.
It's the world's strongest Discord. Very nice.
Lovely group of people.
Very friendly, very welcoming.
I'm proud of all of you.
Yeah, very good. Guys, that's going to do it for episode 82 of the world's cruelest video game podcast.
I just have one more announcement.
Okay.
We're on Spotify.
We're also on Spotify now.
Yeah, I just want to say it just before I forget it. You now have another option. We're on Spotify. Some of you asked for it. You got it. You happy?
There you go.
I'm not doing another thing.
Never ask us for anything ever again.
That's all you're getting. You got your wish.
What do you got to say to these punks, Neve?
There's times in life when you feel really scared. Don't turn around, 'cause there might be a bear.
No.
Stop making me sing.
Thank you for joining, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Bye. We love you.